You all set? You all set?
All set?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Tuesday, August 20th, 2013. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I have to note, in accordance with Mass General laws, that this meeting is being recorded by the Board of Selectmen's office and also taped by East Long Meadow Cable Access. And I have to ask if anyone else in the audience is taping it. Seeing none, we can proceed. Our first item on the agenda is a public forum, and we have one person signed up, and it's Mr. John Turner.
Mr. Turner?
Okay, I started coming to your meetings back in January. And I was concerned with basically the aesthetic look of the town. And I asked that question, and you said that the town had started to look shabbier in the last 10 years, and Mr. Bronsky. Okay. You nodded your head in agreement to that. And then I thought, well, the first thing, if you're gonna make the town look better, is to make sure the zoning laws are obeyed. Would you consider that the first step, or would
Sure.
you think something else would be the first step?
No, that's fine.
And I brought in, numerous violations, and I gave them to you. And I did have, about 2 weeks ago, I had maybe it was 2.5, I had a short conversation with, not short, but 5-10 minutes, with Mr. Hellier in the Selectmen's office here. And he informed me that if it's a violation of the Small Business, the Spot Zoning Act, that he couldn't enforce anything. All he could do was to take pictures and then give them to somebody on the
Planning board?
planning board. Well, I didn't know it was the planning board, so I went on the town website, which is kind of half got a directory in it. And I looked under, first of all, zoning. And when I looked under zoning, there was only one person on the board who was still active. The other 6 weren't there anymore.
I mean, on the zoning board of appeals?
The zoning board of appeals is
I know
only
we have
one.
a full, well, I don't know if you have a full board, but I know we have more than one person.
Well, there's only one person listed,
Okay.
and I think that's something that perhaps our computer guy could get on. I'm still having trouble finding some of the things.
Okay.
And in many towns, when you go on and you look on the website, and you've got a person's name, I know you all have email, and you've got an address or a phone number. All we've got is a name. So I went and I tried to call Mr. Carabetta, and he's not in the phone book. And I don't know if Mr. Hellier claims that he never got any of those sheets of paper that I gave you people. Would that be true or not?
I don't know, actually, Mr. Hellier's right behind you, so.
Sir, I am.
Okay. Could you,
2 weeks ago, when Mr. Turner was in, I requested all his complaints. Mr. Turner provided me with one letter. He did not reply me with the rest of them. And this is actually not a complaint because there's no signature on it. It's addressed to me, but in order for me to enforce something, I have to have a written complaint. So tonight I have provided Mr. Turner with the paperwork necessary to do a proper complaint. And the reason for that is if I start going out there on somebody dropping a letter like this and I end up in court, 100% of the time we're going to lose because it's called what is called selective enforcement. We're just picking on the individuals. All they have to do is go around town and take pictures of other places like that, which I can't cover the whole town.
right.
Mr. Turner really didn't understand that. And
No, I went to the Selectmen's office, okay? A long time ago, over a year ago. And I wrote you something, and I signed it, and I left my phone number. And the select woman down there, the woman, she's not here tonight, told me that by contract, you were supposed to get back to me, and you never did.
I sure did, Mr. Turner. I called you on the phone because you did not provide me with an address. So I called you on the phone, left a message on what action I've taken on each one of these so-called complaints.
I never got that.
Well, you called me back, sir,
Okay, I did. And if I did, I did.
regarding
You know,
the information that I
I thought
provided.
I gave you 3 pieces of paper. If I have to do something special, it's called a button, who's got the button? You could have done this a long time ago.
That's yours, Mr. Turner.
Why didn't you do this a long time ago, sir?
Because I treat these as anonymous. I have a stack of them. And you know what I do with them? I dispose of them unless, according to that, which it says on the second page if you read it, is that it's at my discretion. My discretion is a public safety hazard, not a complaint about somebody's neighbors, because I see them every single day of the week. So, that's the procedure, Mr. Turner.
So in other words, we've taken 6 months to get this piece of paper to me,
Well,
But-
through the chair, ma'am?
you know?
Just so that our listening public knows what the proper procedure is, what is that? Why don't you just go through that so that we don't have to get back here at any
Correct.
point?
There is a form
Uh-huh,
that's a request for inspection,
okay.
which is for zoning.
Mm-hmm,
And the procedure is to fill out that form,
mm-hmm,
date it,
okay.
sign it, and either bring it over or mail it over. I'm currently working on putting it onto our website so people can fill it out electronically.
That would be wonderful, and that goes to one of the things that we're going to talk about a little bit later with regards to access to the website. Okay, so it's not on the website right now, so how would somebody get it? They would come into your office to get that form?
Selectmen's office.
The
is fine.
selectmen's
Or
office
my
have it?
office. It's just
Okay.
as easy.
Okay, great.
Either way, just last week I got 2 complaints about something, and I'm not going to mention here.
No, this isn't the
TV,
form for that, yeah.
And
Well, I noticed that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I noticed that obviously some steps are being taken because we have two different items in our information section tonight. One's a house on Breezy Knoll, one's a house on Allen Street, where in one house you actually, you have written to them explaining the problem and requesting that they correct it, and the other one you actually issued a citation, so
both,
things are,
I
yes.
believe, both,
think
one of
there's
them
only
may
one copy
not,
of one citation.
one of them I may not have.
So
but
things are being done.
2 of
whether,
them are on a fine schedule right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
For you, 7 months later, to come up with this is just sandbagging.
Mr. Turner, you never once came to me about it, and
I went to your office 4 times and you were never there. The lights were out. There's never anything in the door that says, be back at 3:30. The light is out. I came down here to the selectman's office. After going 4 times, I went in and I said, he's got office hours. This is the 4th time I've come in office hours. Where is he? And they said, we don't know. He just shuts the light off and leaves. In other words,
That
there's
is
no
incorrect, Mr.
accounting.
Turner. That is totally incorrect.
I wish the women were here.
I wish they were too, because they would just state that that is not the case, because I tell them when I'm going out. If I'm going out off, excuse me, Mr. Turner, if I'm going out, off my hours, they know where I am. And furthermore, they all have my cell phone number.
Okay. Do you have a set lunch, or do you just take it
No,
whenever
it's like, I
when work
just
lightens up?
would like to take lunch sometime.
Okay, all right.
But so they have when I went down there, they could have given me your phone number, is that what you're telling me?
Sure,
What's
that's
that?
not a problem.
So I fill out the form, I've
Okay, so
handed it over.
In any event, we have, you have this form now to file your complaints. I know you're saying it's been 7 months, but based on what Mr. Hellier said, you've given him forms that haven't, we told you you had to write a written complaint and
I did, and I
sign it.
signed it.
Well, there's one there that's not signed, so.
Is it just
I
one?
gave him,
But
I
yeah.
gave
If you
him
could
3.
take a look at
Sure.
this and see if that is a complaint to you, a legitimate complaint signed by someone.
Through the chair.
or who it is from?
Sure.
Through the
I
chair.
brought them
Mr.
right into here and I
Mr.
gave
Hilliard.
copies.
I do remember
Let's
this.
say I filled this out, I filled it out properly, and I hand it to you. Explain the process.
Process is, when it comes to the selectman's office, they stamp it, the date, and then I act on it.
And
Okay,
generally-
As it says on the
Sorry, go
back,
ahead.
second page of that form there.
Are those
it
several
explains-
forms?
Yes.
Can we just have one of them just to look at, please?
Two-page.
And I'll give it back to you.
No, it's a two-page form. I've got a copy.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them there. Because I think this is one per violation, right? Or is it?
That's
can
for
you-
zoning. violation.
Well, but can you put more than one property on here, or is it one property per?
No, it's one property.
Okay, that's why, yeah.
Because it would take,
Right,
if you
okay,
had 8 properties, it'd take 8 different ones.
okay.
Okay,
So-
so it comes to, they fill it out like Selectman Bronski was saying, they fill it out, they give it back to you,
Signed.
signed, and it'll be dated. What should be a reasonable
I'll respond
expected
within 14 days.
within 14 days? Okay. And you're...
Whether or not it's a legitimate complaint or not. If I find something,
Mhm,
then I will return it. But
okay,
if I don't find anything, I will return it stating that I have not
No
found any
findings.
violations.
Okay, I'm going to ask a few questions on this. Mr. Hilliard. Is that okay?
That's fine with
Well,
me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
If
As long as it's fine with the
Within
chairman.
reason, obviously,
Within
because
reason,
we're.
yeah, I mean, I've already
we're-
voiced my opinion in this.
Right,
I've
but
got
we
a
have,
whole
but we
list
now
of-
have an
I-
avenue for you to
I-
file your complaint,
So I don't make any mistakes
Okay.
here.
right.
Okay? If there is somebody with a spot zoning law.
The
and they're
spot
not-
zoning law, that's different from what I believe what you're thinking.
I-
I think you're thinking of a small business.
Well, you can call it what you want, but it's a spot zoning law. It gives people a chance to have commercial businesses with commercial vehicles
That's fine.
in residential
Okay.
roads. So it's a spot zoning.
Whatever you want, you choose to
I mean,
call it.
some people call it the Affordable Health Act, and some people call it Obamacare.
Mm.
I call it the Affordable Health Act. You
Okay.
call this the small business thing? I
Yeah.
call it spot zoning.
Okay.
That's,
Go ahead
that's,
with
that's
what
easy.
you're saying.
If someone is parking commercial vehicles on their property at night, and it's a residential neighborhood, I know they're allowed to have one commercial vehicle, but they must garage it. Is that a violation of zoning laws?
Yes, it is.
Okay? If someone has a spot zoning issue, and they're in violation of that, does that still go to you?
Correct.
Because you told me you were taking
It
pictures.
goes to me, and I do the investigation, and then I submit it to the planning board, my
You-
findings to the planning board for their action.
You
I
told me-
can't take further action on it.
Yeah, okay, you told me you've already done that. Have you already done that?
I have done that with Mr. DiClemente on Porter Road.
And you gave that to who on the planning board? On the,
I send it CC to the planning, or in that case, I send it directly to the planning board, CC,
Okay,
other interested parties.
okay, so that's already been done on one, okay. Okay, now, I will do this. It's very time-consuming, and that's fine. I can fill it, I don't have to type this, do I? I don't
No.
have a typewriter.
Absolutely
No.
not.
Calligraphy.
Yeah.
You know,
Email
and,
What do you mean?
I'm just
As long
trying
as it's signed and dated,
Trying to
and when
like-
it comes in here, the.
so someone,
the
so,
date's
so,
there.
so there's no anonymity in this, everyone knows who brought the complaint, right?
Well, if you read on the other side, there's in the front page, you'll understand
Well-
why. It's because if I have to go to court and you have some evidence, it's going to be necessary for you to
Well,
bring
no,
that
this
evidence
is
forward.
very hard to do, but that's fine, because I'm on the air right now, I'm
Sure
live.
are.
This is no secret
Oh,
hearing, okay?
I am too.
But the hardest thing to do is to complain about your neighbor, but
That's true.
understand that, okay?
Not in this town.
I've been living in town longer than any of you,
Yeah.
okay? And I've never had a complaint before. But, you know, I feel that the select people have been politely dismissive of me coming here, and I'd like to see some action.
Well,
And this is the way I guess I do it, but when I
Right.
give these things
Well, as we...
to you people, and
Yeah.
they, and
when you gave them
7
to
months
us,
later.
and we informed you that you have to put a complaint in writing to him. You can't give it to us.
You
It
just
has
did
to go-
that- you just
We
did
did
that
that
to
at
me
least
tonight.
3 months ago.
I
We
don't
told you you had
remember
to,
that.
yes, we did.
Mr. Punderson was
Yes,
here
that was when Mr.
starting-
Punderson was here,
I
so that
didn't
was
get-
before March.
I didn't
We were
get
sitting
this
here.
at all.
No, I know, but we told you
You're
you
right.
had to put your complaints in
Is
writing
that-
to the board, and you did not do that, so.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess.
I guess I put it in writing, but I didn't put the right heading on it. Is that
Or you
correct?
didn't, or you didn't sign it.
You
So it
didn't
was-
sign
You
it.
it
could
was
have
deemed
asked me, you
anonymous.
could have asked me to sign.
We
it.
told you that at the time. We told you you had to put it in
What-
writing
what
and
meeting-
signed.
What meeting is
It
that?
was one of the, well, we can narrow
Can I
it down.
watch
We can narrow-
that?
we can
Can I
narrow it-
watch that?
Probably, because it's one of the meetings Mr.
Could
Punderson
you-
was in.
could
There
you
there
tell
weren't that
me-
many of them, so.
Could you tell me?
You'd have to come in and we'll find it, but I can't tell you off the
Okay.
top of my head.
Yeah,
Okay, so when can I come in?
It was late March.
it's probably in February, March, yeah.
It was late March. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
the election was mid-March. Oh, no, the
No,
election was
the
April.
election
That's
was
right, that's
April.
right.
I remember, I was here.
Not in
I
December.
You were here.
was here, I was sitting right over
Okay,
there.
I do not remember.
So,
that, and I
in
don't-
any event.
I do recall somebody, interrupting me 3 times or 2 times, but that was it. And-
Okay.
And that was,
Unfortunately, that did happen.
Yes,
and that was unprofessional, and I shouldn't have had to
true.
listen to that. I shouldn't have had to listen to somebody read a piece of paper and mispronounce half the word. I had no idea what the man was talking about or who he was. And if he'd given me a piece of paper, I'm surely I could have read it and understood what he was saying.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't either. And then I came in again, and he was the same guy who was here.
You talking about on the board?
No,
Oh,
no, somebody in the audience.
Oh, okay. I
Perhaps
don't
you could-
remember actually either.
But I will fill these in.
Okay.
And I can get more.
And you will see results, and then,
Yeah.
in
I'll see
theory, everyone will be
results
happy.
within 14 days.
Yep.
Promise to give that back to you.
But, this is the first time in 7 months
Mhm.
that this has happened.
Well, at least we're on the right road.
Shouldn't have taken this long.
True. True.
I say politely dismiss it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr.
Have a
Turner.
good evening.
Mr. Turner, are you not going to shake our hands?
Oh, I already did. Oh, this is a
It's
goodbye.
It's a
This is a
two-time thing.
goodbye, okay. Thank you.
All right. Our next, it's a little after 6:15, so our first appointment is with, I won't do it alphabetically, I'll do it left to right, Chad Hanrahan, Jason Robertson, and Mike Gaudette from the Arbors Kids of East Long Meadow. You can all come up here, get up, grab one more seat, though.
Hey, how you doing? Nice
Howard.
to meet you. It's nice to meet you. How you doing, Angela? Ladies first. Ladies first, yeah. Paul wanted to jump the gun.
Hi, I'm sorry I sat down so
No,
fast.
I stood on.
Plus, you gotta reach a long way to get
Yeah,
there.
he's got the long arm now. He's got the long arm. Long arm
Sorry
on the wall-
about that.
The wall.
All right, and obviously you folks are here, you're opening up the Arbors Kids over on 126 Industrial Drive.
Correct.
And if you'd like, before we get into the fun details, if you'd like to one of you give a brief overview of what you're going to be doing there.
We are a child care facility. It's opening up at 126 Industrial. Tentative date, August 26, pending on tonight's approval. We do provide infant care, toddler care, and preschool care, and school-age programs, and summer camps as well. And we're ready to go.
And you have been at
95 Shaker.
95 Shaker Road, yeah. And also a small outlet on 80 Denzil? is
80
it?
Denzil,
Yeah,
correct,
so,
yeah.
Okay, so now you're combining them into
Th-
one.
Those will be closed as of Friday.
Okay, and I know you've got a bunch of permits here, and before we get started, I get to take a 5-minute vacation now, because I like to explain that I've known these gentlemen, I've known their families I've known his father-in-law since college, and even besides all of this, if you really looked at the license for the food, you'll notice that the licensee is my wife. So she's running the kitchen there. So needless to say, I'll be vacating the room for a minute while you folks vote on these various licenses. So, but I just want to say before I leave, I think it's great that that you guys and everyone's invested in the town. I think I know your in-laws are were born and raised here, and it's nice to see. Nice to see you come back and put the money back into the town, and I've actually seen the facility, and it's very impressive, and I wish you guys luck.
Thank you very much.
See you in a minute.
Have I read it? Absolutely.
Do you want me to start with the motions?
First, go ahead, and
No,
then I
go
have
ahead.
some discussion.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So do you have anything else you want to add before we get started, gentlemen? Okay, so I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the request for hours of operation Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
So I'll make excuse me, so moved.
Second out of necessity. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. I'll entertain a motion to approve a food establishment permit.
I'll move it for discussion.
Second out of necessity. Discussion?
Okay, when did you got, okay, I noticed that the application date is August 14th. Is that correct, or is that a typo?
No, that's correct.
We put the
Okay.
application in.
When you filled out the application, did they make you aware of the timeline?
No.
Okay. Has there been an inspection by our health inspector
Yes.
already?
Yes.
Yesterday.
I don't see that in here.
And I didn't bring a copy. We did receive a copy. Amy came by Monday, and she went through the inspection, and we were approved.
Okay.
And our licensor came today to get that was part of our state licensing, and she actually has a copy of that as well. So we do have a copy, but unfortunately, we didn't bring a copy.
Well, no, you
Believe
shouldn't have to.
Right, that's what
So-
You're looking at the one from
The one you gave me?
Friday.
Yes, from Friday.
Friday, so the inspection would have been
It was Monday.
Monday.
On Monday.
Monday.
It was
And
yesterday.
so do you have an addition, you don't have any additions?
We have that on file. I know that she went and inspected it.
Mhm.
I don't have that paper saying approved on it, written approved, right at my fingertips.
So can I amend the motion to approve the food establishment permit pending
Hard copy.
a hard copy of the Board of Health approval?
So moved.
Second out of necessity. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. I'll entertain a motion to allow the common vicular license.
Mhm. So moved.
Second out of necessity. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. I'll entertain a motion to allow the milk and cream license.
Okay, that's again, with
Pending.
pending.
Receiving the hard copy.
Yeah,
Correct.
from our health
Board of
aide.
Health.
Yeah. So moved.
Second out of necessity. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. And again, it does say here, health inspector approval pending. You say it's on file. So, Nick, did I cover everything I should have covered there?
You did, and again, just to be clear, there was an inspection.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't doubt
Yep.
that.
Yep.
I
But
just-
pending the hard copy, so
Okay.
once we
Great.
receive it,
See
it's,
that it's
all
a
great.
done deal.
Great.
Okay.
Great. Well, congratulations. You guys do great work. As a working mom for
Well,
many
thank you for
years, it's
coming
very
today.
important what you do. We'd love to.
Thanks. You want to give Paul too much
Are
of
you
a break?
receiving any CDF clients?
Not at this time.
Not at this time.
yes.
Are you going to possibly look at that?
Correct. yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we
All right.
currently run programs in Chicopee and Springfield as well, so.
Okay.
So we'll be looking into that.
All right, great.
you.
So the supportive cases as well?
But
You
yes,
don't know
Like I
yet.
said, we just have to, once we get
Gotcha.
the program up
Okay.
and going.
All right.
Thank you very
No
much.
problem.
Have a good
Good
night.
luck to you.
Thank you. Thanks. You should come by. Looks good. All the courts are. All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Well,
we're all set?
yes. Our next appointment is Kathy Lytle. Are you the only one here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Move this here.
We meet at last. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You know, you have to get around some obstacles here. Alrighty, and you are here on behalf of, I assume you're an owner,
Yes.
of Shelburne Falls Coffee Roasters, which is going to be in on 60 Shaker Road. And you're just in here to basically introduce us to you and introduce you to us, and we don't introduce us to you, but introduce yourself to us and explain your business? Okay, great.
So it's, we roast our own coffee up in Shelburne Falls, and we also have a bakery up there. And so it's a family business. My husband and I started it about 22 years ago. And this is our 6th store
Oh,
that we
okay.
have open.
Good.
And it's, and my daughter has moved back to Western Mass, and she's going to be running the store. She's 25. She
Okay.
grew up in it, so she's happy to be back, so.
Where are your other stores?
We have one on the Mohawk Trail in Shelburne, one in Northampton, East Hampton, one in Hadley, and Greenfield.
Oh, great.
Well, we're amongst some very, very nice communities.
Yes,
then.
yeah. Yep, and I'm sure you'll be a great addition to the community, and,
Yeah, we're hoping that, you know, you never know till you open your doors what
True.
the numbers are going to be. But so far, everybody's been really excited.
Receptive.
Big question, do you make the pods for the Keurig?
Not yet,
Ooh,
but I was
good
just
question.
I was looking at it yesterday, thinking, I know we should do that.
Yeah, that's,
I know I should do that.
What's that?
You can buy the refillable kind.
There you go.
Well, we do, yeah, the
Yeah, they did,
refillable one.
with ours, we got
those
the
are-
little
those
thing,
are too
yeah.
much
That's
work.
okay.
oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Very good.
So
Well,
we're
Great.
we're really excited. I looked around in all sorts of areas and really was so excited to see East Long Meadow
Mhm.
had a space.
And it's funny, because we used to have, I believe, the coffee roaster a long time ago where CVS is.
Before my time.
I do remember.
Yes.
Oh, I guess it's not mine.
Well, I'm an implant.
Well, she did- she meant she didn't live here.
My whole life.
I used to smell it. I used to
Yeah, that was the
smell
thing, they
it,
actually
yeah.
roasted the coffee
Oh,
there.
really?
And
Yeah.
then I believe they moved to the Stop and Shop Plaza when that was sold, and I think they had an issue because they were, because they were,
because of the
Smelling.
smell.
the smell of
But
the
I
coffee.
didn't mind
yeah.
it. It reminded me of England, but we digress.
There you go. Alrighty. Well,
Okay.
I think that's,
Permits.
all the permits that we
All the
have.
permits are here.
Great.
So, this was
Just
just
present them to her. They're
a
all
Okay.
signed.
lovely
They're all
introduction.
signed.
Yes, well, come
Yeah,
by,
I see.
please.
Okay.
When
Absolutely.
are you
And here-
when are you
Yeah, what are
open?
your hours?
We're open at 6 in the morning until 5:30 every day.
That's great.
Okay.
I'm
Great,
143
great.
Shaker, so I'll go right
Great.
by.
Thank you so much.
We
All
we
right.
don't do
Problem.
drive-throughs.
Thank you for coming in today.
Oh, that's a whole
Thank
different
you.
That's a
subject,
whole
the East
other
Long Meadow.
Thank
Well,
you.
congratulations.
Oh,
Congratulations,
thank you so much.
and best of luck.
Oh,
Nice
thank
meeting
you.
you.
We're so excited. Yeah, it's been wonderful
Thanks
so
for
far.
coming
Great.
Very good. Now we're almost on track. 6:25, our next appointment is G.A. Highland and Colin Drury, our rec director, regarding the a bunch of things.
I bring my old backpack.
Hey, good to see you.
Regarding a
Good to see
bunch
you
of
again.
things.
A bunch of
Be
stuff.
technical. Nice
How
to
are
see
ya?
you.
Nice to see
All right,
you.
Nick, how you doing? Good to see you. See that long time, no
Nice
see?
to
How
see
you
you.
doing?
How are you?
As we go back a few years.
The ducks are back.
Make a wish foundation.
Yes, and,
What's that?
The ducks are back.
Chicopee.
Oh yeah,
It was like
the
25
babies
years
are
ago.
slowly being taught. They're on their way.
Okay, all right, let's get those out of there.
Alrighty,
Okay.
we've got a few items. I know that both of you here are here for the first item, which is the Kicks Country Bonfire, which is Saturday, September 7th. So if you'd like to give us an overview of,
I'm happy to do that.
Go for it.
With the inspiring powers that the BOS has, we'd first like to
Should've worn
have
shorts.
First like to have you put in a request to forego any tornado warnings.
Oh,
Can we take a
I was there last year, remember?
We're just
I was in the gym in the high school. I was one of
Yeah,
the few
so-
people.
Standing in the middle of the
If we
field
had
like
that
Yeah.
power.
Yeah.
So, but
If we
it's
only-
essentially a template that we've used in a number of different municipalities, Westfield most recently, without the bonfire, Hatfield with the bonfire, here with an attempt last year. And we procure through the radio station up-and-coming talent, Nashville, out of Nashville. We've confirmed Bush Hog, BUSH. I sent Nick a link for all of you that he can forward on to you. It's a country band that skews probably a little more southern fried rockish country. So it'll be a lively time, and we're looking at trying to get a second artist. We thought we had one, but she ended up getting booked, so we're back on the trail with that. And then we'll have a local artist. The Rotary Club was nice enough to donate the band shell again. We promote it on air. We're selling tickets for $10 in advance and $15 at the gate.
I believe that
At the
is.
gate.
Yeah.
The proceeds are 100% yours to distribute within the town. It's a fundraiser for the town. Hatfield chooses to do the police and the fire department. They've procured a hose reeler for the fire department, which was like $5,000, and then they've gotten some sort of Jaws of Life, but a mini one, because I guess the big ones are quite expensive. We encourage the town to get it, whoever they can, to get involved and have them make money or make some money and donate some money back. However you folks want to operate it, we encourage that. We promote it on air. We're going to start selling, obviously pending the blessing going forward tonight. We want to start selling tickets out at an event Thursday in Westfield in the center of town. There should be, the first event we did out there with Cassidy Pope in later July, had about 3,500 people there, so we're hoping for a good turnout.
The Voice?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, the winner, yeah.
The winner. We actually were going for season 1's winner, I think, or season 2's, I don't really watch it, and that fell through for this particular event. Start selling tickets to get a jump on it there with a couple thousand, if not hopefully more, for Jared Neiman out there. You all are welcome to come out and see how we operate and vet it out there. It's pretty squared away. Our reputation is based on it as a radio station, so we take some pride in it.
Do you have sponsorship opportunities for people who want to be supportive?
We do, but we tend to stay away from it because of the possibilities of revenue for however the bylaws might work. Nick, you probably could, if there is certain things that are restricted within towns, we don't want to get in the way of the town, whatever the charity or the receivers of the benefactors would get from that. So if you wanted to go out and sell it to Don over at Cruise Store, then the town could do that, and we would include them on the radio spots.
So that would be under your efforts if that were to
Yep,
happen?
I am working with Taylor Rental for all of the tents and things like that for the event, and Rocco down there is going to donate everything that we need for the event.
And we'll include
So-
that. I think the skill sets are probably, from Colin's expertise with helping our young grow to your business and marketing side from the chamber days and stuff, have a different view, probably more like mine, and would know about selling that in a different way for cash.
Now, do you have vendors lined up?
We can fill those voids if you have them. We do not
'Cause
right
they-
now.
Refresh my memory how it was supposed to work last year. Did you have a local restaurant that was going to provide, like, the beverages and?
Yeah, Fazio's.
Okay.
Right,
I was
yeah.
going to let you
Yeah.
name them.
Yeah,
Like
no,
Colin-
Aldo Fazio is actually working with getting the beer and wine as well as the food product for us, and then we actually have some firefighters that are going to be donating their time to cook the food for everyone.
Oh, no.
But
Well, at least they can
I
put
saw
out
an
fire.
email about the Rotary was looking to also sell.
Yep, the Rotary was also looking to, I believe, sell like ice cream, popcorn, soda, kind of a big collaboration.
It's very
for the
easy,
town.
Paul, for us to fill any voids with
Okay.
the people that we deal with, as you can imagine, Deb, dealing with day to day, but we prefer to allow the people involved in it to take the swings at filling that to generate as much
Yes,
possible
perfect.
cash for the
Right.
the benefit of the town.
Well, I haven't had a chance to go because of the tornado. So just a quick question. Are there booths that when you're talking about vendors, or what's the setup actually look like?
And again, that falls more on to, we've worked closely with the
Okay.
building department and the electrical department and et cetera, and subs of that all of you would know, but we've been careful to set it up so that it's safe and all that, and we'll provide a 10-by-10 tent
Okay.
to set up under, provide power.
Now,
if
is
that's
there a
needed.
fee for, if a vendor wanted to come, is there a fee for that tent or the booth or whatever? Or you're not doing that?
I think at this point, it's more of a little bit of a grassroots effort and
Gotcha.
working with a couple of vendors to get the event moving. And then my hopes, and I've talked to a couple people, is almost to give it more of a Taste of East Long Meadow feel. Because when I was a kid, I know that was huge here in town.
Yep.
And I'd like to see something like that grow to that.
And Colin's absolutely right. It is truly a crawl, walk, and run. And last year, we had a great effort that really got kiboshed. I mean, Don's crew did a great job. I've enjoyed watching it on LCAT time and time again. The performers with a very, as you saw, Paul, really embraced and had everyone up on stage, and I don't think anyone walked out of there feeling like they didn't get a super experience.
Right. And-
So I think we want to get a good one under our belt before we start to charge
See it
fees.
grow.
Maybe there's a backside if they sell enough to make it worthwhile to donate back, but other
Oh,
than that,
okay.
I think it would be hard to,
Yeah.
All right.
'Cause it's
The
everything's
unknown.
in its
Yeah.
infancy,
Yeah.
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I was gonna say, last year, you split between, I believe it was police, fire, and senior center.
Yep.
And you also did did you do a food drive in conjunction? Because
that
somehow
was-
that ended up in my trunk. But anyways, it's.
That was a function.
Yeah, there was, the police department asked if we would pay for the police officers that were put on duty that night. Fire and the COA were gonna split the rest of the ticket
Oh,
costs
okay.
after all that.
Okay.
And then the recreation department, we were gonna run all of the food and then take the money from that. So it's kind of a little bit of everything.
Is that what you're planning this year, or?
I think it's very similar.
Okay.
You know, take the big pot of money at the end from the ticket sales and the food, and you know, split it between those departments. You know, the Friends of Recreation and the firefighters.
And again, a great idea with the sponsorship, because it's going to run on, not just Kicks, but it'll run on all three stations.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's-
as you know, with some of your marketing background.
How does that money get reported? I mean,
Right.
so, let's say you collected $27,000.
Well, actually,
Good
what
for
did
I
you
mean,
collect?
Where does that go,
That's
and,
pressure.
and how does,
Yep.
I mean, maybe that's not, I'm new, so I don't know. What happens
It's
to
more
that
probably
money?
just to put it in perspective so that the 27 doesn't get,
Right.
it's probably a $5,000 or $7,000 event
Okay.
the first.
Okay.
year.
Collect
There you go.
5,000,
Thank you.
I like to think big.
Last year, I think we did, the first year at Hatfield, we did, I think, about $5,000.
$5,000, okay.
Or 77, somewhere in that 5 to 7. And then we did the second year, it was around 10 or 11. So it had a nice proportional increase
Okay.
that was comfortable to manage too, because all of a sudden, if it is 27,000, we are in deep defecation as far as managing that.
Yeah. The money itself, to answer the question, was going to the
people,
Friends
not the
of.
money. The
So the
people.
501c3 groups that are attached to the departments.
And that was part of the discussion in the early meetings last year with,
Yep.
with the chief and Paul and yourself and,
Mhm.
and the woman from
Carolyn.
the Carolyn.
Yep.
From the elderly.
Great. So we basically have to approve the,
Well, the board previously has approved it. This was really more of a update to, to see where the progress is to
Mhm.
date. The board meets again on September 3rd. You'll see at that meeting applications for approval for the food,
And the
for all
liquor.
the food vendors and the liquor
Okay.
and so forth. And I would just remind of the timeline. We'll need to have all of the completed applications in here Thursday of next week,
Okay.
and by noon on Thursday of next week.
Mhm.
So that would give us enough time to
Sure.
be ready.
And I know
Right.
Danielle, who had her forgo tonight, came to the meeting that Nick was at the fire department, is aware of that also. She mentioned that to me.
was she there last year?
Yes, she's
Yeah.
our promotions director. She's
Oh, yeah, I remember.
phenomenal. Phenomenal. So,
Yeah.
And the vendors are already in the works with this.
Okay, great.
You know, certificate of insurances and things
Mhm.
like that, so.
Wonderful.
and the group is also planning a meeting this week or the beginning of next week to kind of recap where we're at. And then we've got a Thursday or Wednesday, Paul suggested before, in terms of a layout meeting, so we're gonna be pretty much on top of it.
Great.
So,
Great.
One final question, where are tickets available? They don't have to wait?
They'll be available at the station,
Yes.
as well as the event on Thursday night in Westfield. And then Recreation, Senior Center, and Fire Department.
Okay, great.
And the station is gonna be at events or things like that also, where we're out and about selling.
Can they buy online with credit cards or do any of that?
We have that option if we think we need it, and it's one of those things that we can set up.
Great.
If everyone wants to do it. Relatively easy and no cost, or no, other than the 3% for the people handling
Mhm.
the
Right.
credit card fee.
Yep.
That would be the only thing I would leave with the people that we work with. That would get 100% of that back.
Great.
I'm sorry, 97%.
97, yeah.
Great.
So-
Very good.
All right.
Well, we wish you luck. And like you mentioned the Rotary Club, and I think I was right. I think somehow I'm selling hot dogs there, but I'm not sure. But anyways,
Yeah.
through the Rotary Club.
And use the power of the board to keep those tornadoes away.
I will try.
Yes. as
All
much
right,
as
great.
we
It
can.
was good seeing you, Nick. Take care, thanks. Yeah,
Thanks.
look
I'll
forward
keep
to
hanging
working
out.
with you all. Paul, good to see you.
See you,
Take care,
Gia.
Colin.
All right.
Give me a call.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Always
Take
good
care.
to see you.
Okay. Now, Colin, we got a couple items with you. The first one is the rec department sponsorship application and policy.
Okay.
If you want to, I assume you've got something all set?
Nick spoke with me earlier today, yeah.
Just through the chairman, I did, just wanted to report for the board, and I spoke with Colin earlier at that. Council has provided some remarks
Okay.
on that, but Colin and I just haven't had a chance to get together and take
Okay.
a look at them.
So we can readdress that next meeting.
I was on my honeymoon, so.
Were you
What
really?
kind of excuse is that?
Congratulations.
I know, I should have I should have Skyped in, I was gonna Skype in with Nick, but,
Someone told me next time I saw you, you'd be married, so.
yeah.
Well, good for you, congratulations.
thank you.
Congratulations. And then, next item is you have a warrant item that you're
Mhm.
presenting regarding the Pine Knoll Pool. If
Yep.
you'd like to go over that briefly.
Sure. As you know, last year, we looked at the pool in its current state, and the amount of money that was going into it, was kind of a big waste. It's a very old pool, falling apart. So with the help of the board, we looked into the possibility of getting a new Pine Knoll recreation pool put in. And made the decision to hire a professional to come in to take a look at the pool, do the measurements, and create a budget for the town. As the process goes, we get the budget, go to the special town meeting, get the budget, and then find out from engineer number 2 that the budget's too small. And so here we are, again, asking for additional funds to complete the project.
They were just off by a tiny bit, though.
Just a small hair of an
really?
amount.
I believe you're
it's
looking for another
a lot of-
$350,000.
$350,000.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
It's
You're
worse,
right.
it's worse than
a
the
lot.
weatherman.
How much
Anyway, being wrong.
Yes. But what I think is that it doesn't change the need. And it really is the centerpiece of the program for this town. And it is a program that around 1,500 children from the town of East Long Meadow alone go to that camp each year and utilize the services of that camp along with our mad science programs and pool programs. So it doesn't change the need for it. And I will say that this year alone, our chemicals that we had to put in the pool actually doubled again from the previous year. So it is getting worse. It is leaking water that we have to rechlorinate to keep it safe for all the kids. And it is a strong effort every single day to keep that pool in its correct form. And it is a pool that's on its way out.
Right.
And
And you're looking for this money from the community preservation?
community preservation,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of points on the warrant article itself. So this would be one that I don't know whether or not the CPC has had the chance yet to
Exactly.
review and have that discussion about presenting it with a recommendation to the board. I would ask that the board a little bit later in the meeting, when you're talking about warrant articles, include this one as to the question of whether or not you would support it being put on the warrant, only because of the timing of things.
Right.
The board would need to make a decision to that effect unless the board wanted to, defer the decision to the next meeting, but that puts putting together the warrant
Very
a little
That
bit.
much more difficult?
Yeah.
What is the total line item that you're,
The total amount would be $800,000. And that's with the 450 that was previously given as well as the 350.
And as you noted here, you have a sheet with the, the pros of having a pool and also the different programs and everything that it benefits, and it is a tremendous benefit for the town. I didn't realize you were up to 2,000 kids in the summer program.
Yeah, 2,222 last year, and
Wow.
our final week is happening right now, and those numbers are coming in actually a little higher. We had a week with over 200 kids at camp.
Wow,
So it is growing,
Yeah.
which is nice.
that's great.
through the chair if I
Yes, sure.
I noticed on number 7, you said that it would generate more income for the town.
Mhm.
Could you just explain how the pool
Sure.
would make some income, just
Sure.
for some people who may not know?
Yes. What's really nice about outdoor pools is that you can host events there in the summer.
Okay.
And those events, which is something exciting, is actually East Long Meadow Marlins actually won the summer championships this year for the first time in a very long time. And that is an event that we could actually host here in town. We could actually host the summer championships at Pine Knoll. And with concessions and what the actual league would give you to host, some towns have actually generated around $10,000 just to the town for hosting the event. So that's just one. Along with the multiple other programs that we could offer with that type of a pool, including the handicapped and elderly, as well as children with special needs. It really is an environment that is safe and secure for that population. And it's just exciting for me because I've been in the field with aquatics for almost 10 years now. And to have the ability to bring those programs into town, including swim lessons, which is, right at the center of me, is that youth really should know how to swim. And if we can't offer those swimming lessons, our kids in our town are leaving town to go elsewhere, and I think we should have that here. The last thing you want to hear about is a child drowning. So that's going to allow us to have those programs stay open longer with a longer season, and have more than 10 to 12 members of the pool, because that's kind of what we have right now. You would think about during the weekend we have 10 or 12 people using the pool, when really it could be 80. We could have a centerpiece of the youth and families in town that to come out and enjoy Pine Knoll Recreation Area.
You think they would be cut with the new pool? They would
Absolutely. I mean, that pool, I've heard parents say, "Oh my God, it's the coldest pool in the world." It's because we're pumping in well water
every day
at a rate of 4,000 gallons a day, so it doesn't get above 60. It's cold. Luckily this year it was nice and warm, so we did get to the mid-60s, which was, I guess, warm for that pool. But that pool, even without a heating system, the new pool, the solar benefits, and without leaking 4,000 gallons a day, it'll actually stay at that 70-degree temperature that you want for a summer pool. And we're also not pumping water and pumping chemicals into a pool at a rate that to me is kind of crazy.
Okay, great. And just as I'm thinking of this logically as a timeline, it would make, I'm not trying to sway anybody's decision, this is me personally speaking, but in the perfect world, it would make sense if this was to go before a meeting, it would go before this meeting, because to go before the May meeting would sort of defeat the purpose of getting a new pool in before June. So if you're going to a meeting third week in May,
it'd be very difficult.
So
it's about a 3.5 to 4 month process to put in a pool.
So getting the ball rolling would be a priority.
Yes.
The beach ball or whatever I say. So,
Sure.
All right, very good. I think that's it, isn't it?
I think that's it for
Great.
me.
I wish it weren't so much money, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the market, which is, yes, a little scary that you can put a pool in your backyard for $10,000. But a commercial pool and all the regulations and the building procedures, it really inflates the cost. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Time to get home to the new wife.
There you go.
All right, guys.
Take care, Colin. Our 6:30 appointment is our town clerk, treasurer, collector, Tom Florence.
I felt like Merv Griffin for a minute.
Hello, sir.
Okay, you are here for a few items.
Yep.
The first being, you've got a request for approval of election workers, and it's nice that we still have a full docket of election workers, considering the work you had to put them through last year.
I know.
With the 7 elections.
Just in 1 year, or the 11 elections in 13 months.
Yes.
But you know what's great? The attitude of them, and we do on the census put in, are you interested in being an election worker? So we do have a lot still interested on top
Good,
of this list,
good.
which is good. Yeah.
Ready? Does anyone on the board have any questions about these, the representatives?
That other individual that I spoke to you about,
Yeah.
will she be added to this list?
Yes.
Or will it, okay.
Should be added to that list, right.
Okay.
Substantive.
So does that mean if we vote on this, we have to vote on it in addition to another person for approving them?
Could the name be added right here, or is that?
Fine with me.
is
Is
it-
that, does
I
that,
don't have a problem with that.
No.
okay.
Sure. That's it.
Janice Curtis.
And she's unenrolled.
You know, I don't know her.
Yeah, I'll find out what
Okay.
party, no, just to put her in the right
Okay.
area.
So then, I believe the list would be amended at the
To
next meeting to
include.
include
Okay.
Right.
the
Okay.
person.
All right,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay, so what I'll do is, we'll
I could call her.
I'll make a motion to approve the list of election workers to serve for a one-year term with the inclusion of
Of the Janice Curtis.
Janice Curtis, who will be added to the list at the next meeting.
That's
So moved.
Is there a second?
second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Next, you have a request for the approval of a Republican candidate for Registrar of Voters.
Yes. Yeah.
If you want to, go ahead.
Sure. The registrar, we did have Steve Casey, due to family and work items, cannot serve or not put the time in that he would like, and he's a big help. He was 5+ years, he was a registrar, but freed up a position, and we wrote a letter to the Republican Town Committee Chair, Marty Kane, and this was their recommendation to us for your approval.
That's a great guy.
Yeah, it's for a lot of good things that Patrick Henry, and
You couldn't get a more historic name.
I was, you beat me to it. It's, give me liberty or give me death. Yeah. But he comes highly recommended by Marty and Deb, so we look for your approval to add him to the Board of Registrars.
Okay, great. Is there a motion to add Mr. R. Patrick Henry to to appoint him as the Open Board of Registrars term to June 30th, 2016?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good.
Through the chair, please.
Mhm.
The gentleman who had served for 5 years, I would make the recommendation that we send him a letter thanking him for his
Okay.
service.
Yes.
Because sometimes we don't always acknowledge our volunteers,
right.
and maybe we'll
That's
do a
a good
little
point.
bit better with that.
Good point.
And we certainly have at times difficulty trying to find the volunteers, so it's nice to
Absolutely.
acknowledge them when they actually have served, so thank you.
Very good. Thanks.
And then next item is your part-time position.
Yes.
You have a candidate.
Yes. We have a candidate that we extended an offer to.
Mhm.
That then she accepted, and I appreciate Deb's input
Okay.
as the clerk liaison, and we like Mary O'Connor, who's lived in town her whole life. She's worked 28 years in Americans, Lennox Fiber Bank. Yeah. And she has great customer service and administrative support background, and I'd like to have her start this Monday coming up, August 26th.
Okay.
I interviewed with him, his
Okay.
final two candidates.
Okay.
Both very good, would have been comfortable with either of them. The fact that you're recommending and looking to hire someone who is from East Long Meadow,
Mhm.
who's worked for East Long Meadow companies, who volunteers at the senior center. She
Mhm.
has relationships here. I think that's all the better.
Mhm.
Either candidate would have been a good addition for you, but I think it's great that
Okay.
I agree.
I would just ask that perhaps maybe she can come in and we can all meet her.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but certainly we can move forward with
Right,
the
right,
hiring.
yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if she's available for our
September
September
3rd.
3rd, yeah, thank you.
She works part-time in
Right.
the days,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
Okay.
It would be ideal.
That'd be great.
I'll
Great.
make sure that
Great.
happens. I'll
All right.
work with you.
Is there
Thank you guys
a,
for your time.
is there a motion to accept the application or to hire Mary O'Connor as the part-time clerk, part-time employee in the clerk's position?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
The rate?
Tom, it's 14.
What's that?
What is her hourly rate? Are we allowed to
Oh.
say that?
I don't know.
Oops.
Oops. Well, I thought we would be. It's it's open.
Yeah, it's public now, yeah.
Public record.
It's what we had budgeted for. It was for a grade 5, step 1.
Grade 5, step 1.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I guess you'll tell me later.
Yeah, or I mean,
Go ahead.
yeah, it's $14.61.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was
Great.
close. I didn't have the sense.
There's a joke there somewhere.
Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Great,
Thank you, Tom.
Very good.
congratulations.
Thank you very much for your
Good
time.
job.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Look forward to
Nice
having you
seeing
on
you.
board. Good seeing you.
Thank you.
Nice
Nice work.
football.
It's getting better.
All right, moving right
Very good.
along.
Our next appointment, and we're only running 15 minutes late, is our town accountant, Tom Caliento. Welcome back. How do you feel?
I feel good.
Good.
Less one working, but.
Details.
Less one organ.
Less one working.
I don't know.
I see you
I
have,
invite Russ-
I see you having Natalie
Was
as
that
hired
vacation?
Dean of our Appropriations Committee, Russ Denver.
Sorry.
What a
Mr.
pleasure.
Denver. Nice to see you.
What a pleasure.
Alrighty, we've got a few things on here.
Yes, you do.
The first item is, which I think you're carrying over from our Employee Benefits Administrator, which I wanted to note that she would have been here tonight, but her father-in-law passed away, so she had, unfortunately, previous things to take care of, so she couldn't be with us. So in any event, the first item is Section 125 plans and employee notification regarding Affordable Care Act. Or I guess Obamacare, depending on who you listen to. Whatever. Be nice, I know.
There you go.
Patient Protection Affordable Care Act.
There you go. Oh yeah, that's your
That's what I do.
bailiwick now,
I
isn't it?
do that, yep.
Yes.
You want to repeat that?
PPACA, Patient Protection Affordable Care Act.
Got it.
Okay, go ahead
Don't
now.
ask me to repeat it. though.
Yep. Regarding that, Nick, myself and Corinne have met a few times, and I don't know, do you want to take it?
Well, there's two issues here. The first with the Section 125 plan. And what we're looking for from the board is we recognize that we need to get the plan reestablished with our Section 125, basically with our pre-tax benefits for employees that have benefits that want to have them paid for pre-tax.
Yep.
And there was an effort by the board a couple of years ago to meet with a vendor, but it was actually, I believe, approved at that meeting, but it never went anywhere. We sort of got mired in other issues with healthcare, with the changes with the employees and so forth. We have been approached by a vendor that we currently work with, but this isn't really vendor-driven. This is just, we need to establish this. Part of the work that will need to be done, will reestablish, is to have whichever vendor meet with every employee, benefit eligible employee. So that will be an effort that will be no small undertaking, because it does include the school department. So, and this is, our first task is to ask the board if the board has a preference with how we go about obtaining a vendor to get the work done. Now, typically, there won't be any direct cost to the town for the work. The vendors will have the opportunity to meet with employees, and that is how we understand it to be sort of the payoff, because there may or may not be other opportunities for them at that time. But we do get a plan that will be in effect for 5 years, I believe that's the case.
3 to 5, I believe.
And will get us officially back with what we need to do. I can tell you that in practice we have continued and have been doing it right along, but it's a matter of having this process we have to go through this process.
Because there's no cost, there's no need to go out to bid for solicitation, but certainly I would think letters of intent or interest and explanation of who they are, interest in why they would want to serve us might be a good idea.
Are there several vendors? How many
That's
vendors are
another-
we talking?
We haven't actively sought vendors yet. We wanted some guidance from you and some direction from you. There was one particular vendor, Colonial, who has been working with the town for years on deferred comp. They've come to us and met with us, and I don't know if there was, I think that was the only company. Right?
Well, that was not the vendor that I'm referring to from a couple of years back. This is a vendor that we have. Tom's referring to a vendor that currently does offer products to employees in the town. These are optional benefits that they offer. They have indicated that they have an interest in being the one who provides this. We have a certain level of familiarity with this company, but that, again, we didn't feel was our decision as to how to go about doing it. Maybe one way to do it would be for the board to give us leeway to consider bringing to you maybe 2 vendors or 3 vendors and have a decision made. That would be one option out of any number. But we are looking for that direction because that's the question we need answered before we can really move forward.
Selectman Baranski, through the
Yes.
chair. Did that answer your question?
Yes, so Nick's just saying, do you want us to present you 3 options, or how do you want us to bring them about? I don't know how many companies are out that actually do that. Are there?
There are actually several in East Long Meadow that could do that.
So I would think
Maybe-
that they bring us their top 3.
Three,
or-
yeah. As
Make
you
your top
somehow,
3.
as you determine what
The top 3 that are going to give the most benefits for our employees.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Well, I
the
just
top
want,
3
I
would- yeah,
I
no.
want to be sure.
No, right, never
Yeah.
assume. It's not going to
Exactly.
cost us anything to have
No,
them do the
they're gonna
work.
sit with employees and look at their existing benefit plan and provide guidance for that employee.
Mhm.
And obviously try to get business from them as they
Yep.
maybe may invest more in deferred income
Yep.
with them, but, on top, they're not gonna have to be with us.
Ultimately, we've chosen vendor A. How much more staff time on our side, if any, is involved in implementing, facilitating, keeping up with this new opportunity for our employees to take advantage of a new benefit?
On my side, we'll have to, provide upfront data, employee lists, and we do that, so.
Okay.
We'll have to do that. The vendor would take those lists, throw them into a form, sit down with each employee, and then review what each employee has. So that's pretty standard fare for.
Nothing ongoing, though.
Well, ongoing would be, any changes to benefits, so the benefit payroll adjustments would be made through my office.
Okay.
and-
But that's a one-shot deal, right? I mean, if someone changed if they had some pre-tax items or something, that would be a change to their payroll status, if you will, but then after that, it would flow smoothly, so.
Yeah.
It's not an ongoing
No, it's
increased
the upfront
effort,
for
yeah.
us, but. I mean,
Worthwhile, you can
Yeah,
offer
we
added
have to-
benefits
we
to
have
our
do it in order to
employees.
comply.
Okay.
Good.
All right, so yeah, why don't you come, yeah, well, I'll tell you what, let's do this. I'll make a motion that you go out and get the 3 best vendors that you find will provide the most service for the town, for the employees, and bring them back to us, and then we can discuss them and choose a finalist.
Would you have any preference to local vendors or East Long Meadow-based vendors, or we just look for?
Well, who's the current person you work with?
Well, we currently don't have an
Okay.
administrator assigned to it, so.
But
that's
you
what-
said there was somebody that works through the town that,
Colonial provides deferred comp to us, but as far as administering.
okay.
I know
then-
you were talking about Colonial, but who were you talking about, Nick?
Well, I was mentioning Colonial is the one that we have most recently been approached by, but then there was another vendor, the name escapes me, going back
That's
a
okay.
couple of years,
Okay.
that had indicated an interest, but then it sort of fell off.
Fell off.
My
Yeah.
preference would be an East Long Meadow business
Mhm.
if
If they're
if
given
they
the-
were one of your
those
top
things
three.
about-
Obviously, we
I'm
want.
sure they will. We'll rise to the occasion.
If the best of the best happen to be in Hamden, then we want to do what's best for our employees, but
Right.
the preference would be to do business with East Long Meadow businesses.
All things being equal, yes,
Right,
having
yes,
East Long Meadow,
definitely.
absolutely, I agree.
Okay, great. So is there a motion to allow Mr. Caliento to pursue this and get three highest and best people to work on the Section 125 benefits plan?
May I?
Sure.
I think,
I'll get this done eventually.
would it be I don't mind being the lead, but
Well,
would it be Nick and Corinne that would be the lead?
I would suggest that the board charge myself, Tom, and
Okay.
Corinne to work
Sure.
together because we have been working on this and then
Okay.
present them.
Let's try it again. I'd like to make a motion to allow Tom Caliento, Nick Bro, and Corinne Tranghese to, the ability to go out and seek the three best vendors for a Section 125 plan and bring it back to us for a final determination.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
And also provided that East Long Meadow
Yes,
would get a
yes,
preference.
Yes.
If all things are equal.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Very good.
Good job.
Okay, next up.
Yep, Mr. Chairman, related to that is the employee care.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Just as a
The
top.
PPACA. PP, is that what it was?
PPACA.
Okay.
PAPACA.
All right, and that's, well, explain to us that, you obviously want to notify the employees of the future?
The availability of state exchanges.
Okay,
It's required under the law that they be notified by October 1st
okay,
of this year. It's a one-time notification, and then you have to notify every new employee of the availability of the exchanges.
okay.
One of the questions that we're working on is just trying to get a clarification. There's a form on there that there needs to be we're trying to determine whether it needs to be a certain level of individual, every single one needs to be different, or if we can sort of,
Boilerplate? it,
Yeah.
sort of?
It's a boilerplate form that can go to every benefit eligible employee.
Okay, great.
What about the non-benefit employees?
Non-benefit eligible employees are not required to get it. Other communities that my firm that I work with happen to handle a lot of this. They are just doing it through email to every employee on their system. Every employee who does not have an email address through the system, they're giving notices to their department heads and then having the department heads hand it to them and sign off that they've actually gotten it as a record. And when you do your email notice, you're supposed to get a receipt that they've opened it and had an opportunity to read it. If you need some further direction, give me a call.
Absolutely.
So, it's fairly easy.
Okay. So you will be proceeding with that to get that out to the employees in short order?
that one's right. Tom and I will be helping as much as need be, but that one is one that Corinne understands she needs to work
Okay.
on.
Very good. Now, the next item, I think we're all set with that, right? Are you here for the next item? The,
I don't know.
Financial warrant articles for the special town meeting?
Okay. We had appropriation committee meeting last night. Russ Denver is the chair. Again, thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Does a great job.
Thank you.
And
Of course he does, he went to Cathedral.
Thank you, Russ.
I'll give you that one.
we were presented initially with two petitioned monetary warrant articles. One is $350,000 for the Pine Knoll Pool on top of the $450 that we will have to consider and review, and appropriations committee, it's capital planning,
Probably some
and the
community preservation,
CPC will
yeah.
have to make a recommendation, primarily CPC. If CPC does not recommend it, it cannot move.
Okay,
So we will wait to see what their recommendations are.
okay.
The other is the tennis courts. We had a petition on $325,000 request through the petitioner for redoing the tennis courts over at the high school from what I see, available funds. Now, I'm not sure exactly if community preservation is a possibility in that subset, but I think the attorneys behind me will be talking about that and maybe considering whether that is the case. If not, then I think maybe free cash or stabilization fund or raise and appropriate could be a possibility.
Okay.
So that's what's in front of you, and that's what we will be contemplating prior to the special town meeting.
Okay.
I'll just give you our thoughts in general.
Sure.
I know that Colin was here just before us, and we would like to see a lot more data on how it went from 450 to 800,000, and where the difference came, what it consists of, who came up, how many different bids there were, who they came from, because that is a doubling of the amount.
Right, and I remember all those packages that came in, and
Yeah, so we are going to need a lot more data to kind of make a decent recommendation. We want to be able to back up our recommendation.
Right, okay.
And so if you can just,
It's also how many people, and I understand the pool is fabulous, but if 1,500 children use the pool for $800,000 and tennis courts for $350,000, CPC money is everyone's money. Everyone who pays taxes. And again, I'm not all downing a pool and parks. I think, it's just, there's so many. It's just, so I agree with you.
yeah, the capital planning, the tennis courts were on the 5-year capital plan. It had been submitted by the school committee. It just had risen to the priority list to be funded. So it's been there for
been there
a
for a
period
while.
of time. But CPC is an available fund to build, we think, available fund that might be pertinent to fund that.
Okay.
So that would be our general recommendation.
And obviously that's being presented by a private party.
Yeah, and
townspeople.
And Eric Madison, as also the new chair of capital planning, again, is.
I mean, if he's new, it's not, if he's again, it's not new.
He got reappointed.
Okay.
Is going to be in contact with the lead petitioner.
Okay.
To have them come in and talk.
And right back, I mean, how many people, and I don't know, I don't play tennis, but how, or golf for that matter, how many people use the court, the benefit of the expending of that amount of money for, the greater good and so on would be a question I would have.
A lot of questions, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Any other financial warrant items?
Yeah, two. The union contracts.
Yep. I've been trying to, go ahead.
Russ can elaborate on union contracts and where we believe the AC stands.
It is the general feeling of the Appropriations Committee that they be brought to town meeting,
Okay.
not as a reserve fund request, but from free cash.
Okay.
So, and that you allow the voters of the town to vote on those at that location. I think you know that we have tried our best to see pay raises be brought to town meeting so that it's kind of full transparency and people can ask questions and vote on those expenditures. And so we've not always been successful, but we have tried to use that as a policy. And it's very close in time. It's about 6 weeks away, so.
Yeah.
Russ, if you don't, I'm sorry, I
No, go
don't know, free cash versus,
A reserve fund transfer?
okay, and can you
There
just
is
explain
in the general
briefly?
fund appropriated at town meeting, there is a sum of money set aside, I think about $400,000 this year, to fund extraordinary expenses, extraordinary and unforeseen expenses. We are of the opinion that negotiated contracts are not extraordinary or unforeseen, and that therefore they don't rise to the level of a reserve fund transfer
Thank you.
request, and that it should come from free cash.
And so none of these anticipated increases were in the budgets presented last year? Okay. That was just for the publics?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All righty.
And that was pretty unanimous, that feeling.
Okay.
So.
Very good. All righty.
Another rather important issue is that, and we talk about this every year, is the possibility of using free cash or stabilization fund, which is in essence free cash, but needs a higher vote at town meeting. Or a sum of money to reduce the tax rate. This was discussed last night at the Appropriations Committee. There was no vote taken. However, I think it needs to be an ongoing conversation and direction from the board on whether you're willing to move forward on that. You know, I think people feel that, you know, the tax rate is going up this year, as we have mentioned, for quite some time, unfortunately. And whatever relief we can provide maybe should be discussed or considered. And also, on top of that, we have other financial issues coming up, space and so on. So the amount, whether you want to move it on a warrant article this meeting or wait till special town meeting, we're really throwing it out there to you to discuss and maybe decide whether it should be moved. Free cash will have to be certified by October 7th and probably about 2 weeks before that, because, you know, you'll have to know the amount of free cash that the DOR certified and then make decisions on what you may feel is pertinent use and how much. So getting that certified is going to be difficult for us. We're going to have to really crank out the year, close the year and crank out the docs, but we'll do it. So getting it before the middle of September certified, I think is going to be difficult. I'm shooting for the middle of September.
What does the Appropriations Committee, do you have a recommendation at this point, or?
No, we need to see, the town accountant needs to close out the books for fiscal year 2013. Once he has closed out those books and has a pretty good preliminary number, we are more than willing to take that into consideration to reduce the tax increase that is anticipated. We preliminarily appear to be in a decent, we're never in a great financial position, but we're in a decent position to be able to make adjustments. I think one thing, if I could, last year this town did not tax to the limit that it could have taxed. In fact, I think the rate went down 26 cents a thousand. Does that ring a bell? About 26 cents a thousand. So some of the shock is that difference plus what you can then tax to because it's a new fiscal year.
Right.
So I think we need to do a very good job of educating the public that, yeah, we saved you. I'm just using that in quotes, last year. And so you might see a little kind of balancing of that rate.
Okay.
But we will, yes, give serious consideration to using free cash to reduce the rate.
Okay, so we will have a warrant item, but it's sort of like, it's going to be vague until everyone gets their, I mean, let's put it this way, I shouldn't have said that. I will, I guess, do I have to make a motion to include a warrant item for possible?
Possibility of reducing the tax rate with free cash.
Well, Mr. Chairman, yes, ultimately the board would have to make that decision, but I think and there is a place coming up in the agenda, unless the board wanted, I was hoping the board would go through all of the proposals.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
But also, within this particular proposal, yes, it would need to be vague because of the timeline, but I would pose a question both to council and the moderator as to how vague. Would an exact dollar amount need to be printed now? And is there a way to calculate that effect on the tax rate? So for what kind of a warrant article would be acceptable to warn the public?
Yes.
I guess,
By the way, this is our moderator, Jim Shields.
yeah, my general rule is with respect to monetary articles, that the number that is proposed in the warrant can be reduced by any amount, but can only be increased by 10% or so, because that I figure is a reasonable range in terms of warning the voters as to what actions may be taken. What concerns me is that despite the best efforts of the accountant to get everything done, I think it is unlikely, in my own opinion, that we will have certified funds by October the 7th. And if the funds aren't certified, if free cash is not certified, we can't spend it. Even though we have the money, it has to be certified, which would leave the stabilization fund as the only source, which may be unfair to a proponent because that requires a 2/3 vote as opposed to a majority vote in order to access it. And conceptually, I think the intent of the stabilization fund is not for operating purposes, it's for rainy day purposes, if you will, or for extraordinary circumstances. And while there might be every expectation that a withdrawal from the stabilization fund would be replenished from free cash when it is certified, that's not a guarantee. So I don't know how, for example, there was a mention made just minutes ago about bringing the negotiated raises to the town meeting floor. If we don't have certified free cash, I'm not sure what the source of funding for those raises would be. That being the case, I'm wondering whether an additional special town meeting might be called for. And if that is the case, would it be prudent to delay the one that is presently anticipated for October the 7th until such time as we have more certainty as to our certification of free cash? These are just concerns that I have. All may be well. I know Tom is working very hard, but it's not only within his control. The DOR has to get involved, and who knows what their schedule is. And we're talking essentially of having this done in the next 30 days.
Right, and there are other items that wanted to be on the special meeting that didn't get on because of timing and so on, so a delay would allow for...
I'm just throwing that out as a concern. So, assuming the meeting goes forward, then my rule of thumb would be the 10% rule in terms of an amount not to exceed 10% more than whatever is in the warrant.
But it's still a moot point if free cash isn't certified.
If free cash isn't certified, it isn't there. We don't have it as far as state law is concerned and for the legislative body.
Yes, sir.
Well, not to throw a monkey wrench into this whole thing, but the money that's under the control of the Appropriations Committee for unforeseen and unreserved or unforeseen or unanticipated expenses is just an appropriation like any other money that's appropriated. So that if there was a need to appropriate money currently, you could move to appropriate funds from that account to other specific accounts, and then you have the issue that the moderator raised. The expectation, I think, would be that the unforeseen account would be replenished, but there's no guarantee of that. But it would be one mechanism or one source of funds that could prevent or keep you from, or allow you to go forward with the town meeting on certain funds such as wage negotiation settlements.
With the caveat that we need a 2/3?
No, not
in this case?
No, not from what town council is suggesting. I hadn't thought of that angle at all. It would be, instead of having a transfer from the reserve fund by the Board of Selectmen and the Appropriations Committee, there would actually be essentially a reappropriation or retransfer by the town meeting itself from that account to whatever other purpose.
Oh, okay.
So the $400,000 would be reduced by whatever amount, and then theoretically be replenished at some point in time in the future.
So, we just felt that every year, that needs to be discussed and brought up. And
So
as far as money and effect on the tax rate, every $100,000 that you brought in free cash to reduce the tax rate would mean 5.5 cents.
Okay, so you've, obviously, somewhere along the line, someone's mentioned a number. You don't have to tell us. No?
No.
You just spoken
No.
in vague generalities?
No, we were joined last night by,
Marty Grudgeon.
thank you, who I believe was chair of the Board of Assessors. And he was floating numbers. No one on the Appropriations Committee made any reference to how much, because we're interested in seeing the certified numbers before we act on it.
When would that be?
We don't know.
Well,
When was it last year, do you know?
He's trying to do it for mid-September, but.
What, didn't you, weren't
It was later.
uncertified? I thought they were certified before.
it was like, because we didn't do anything in October, so it was later in the year. I think it might have been January even.
It was late.
So, but however, the process will be, I'll have to close the books before August 30th, and then assemble basically a bunch of financial documents for audit by the DOR. And depending on where we are in the queue, you know, of other communities doing the same thing, you know, it'll be a difficult time frame, but, you know, we're going to try to do it.
Okay, because I guess what I was getting at is, in light of the figure plus a maximum of 10, is that there's no way that we can know what the figure, what any figure to.
Well, I think that if you look at every 100,000, meaning 5.5 cents, and you start from there, and you...
But we don't know how much money we have to play with.
No, you don't.
No.
So it's
and we
not
don't know
easy.
all those other
You
things.
can't do the equation
It's
without.
difficult.
Right. Well, yeah,
At
but
least
that's,
some
I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at, is we can't put a warrant item in, as far as the moderator's concerned, unless we have a figure that's at least 90% or whatever of what we're gonna have.
And then if you
We can't
put-
get a figure, because it's like a doodle. We can't do this without this, but we can't do either right now. So so it almost sounds like we can't put the warrant item in. That, you know.
Stabilization
Unless-
fund is...
Up. Yes, sir.
Just so you have a full discussion of the potential aspects of it. You speak with the moderator a second ago. His rule of thumb of 10% increase only relates to those articles where there is a specific monetary amount requested in the article.
Right.
So if the article only requests an appropriation of funds but doesn't specify an amount, then that limitation doesn't apply.
But didn't you say you like the financial articles to have a figure associated
Well,
with them?
that's, the warrant is the control of the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
If there is a number, then that number is an important number. If there is no state law requirement or town bylaw requirement that a dollar amount be attributed to any particular article.
I'm not going to vote on an article that has no amount. That's.
But it
Well, no,
will-
there
it will
would be
by
a
the time we
motion.
go to town
The
meeting.
way it would work, to describe, the article as published would not have a specific dollar amount. A motion that would be made and acted upon at the town meeting floor clearly would. That motion, you know, that would be more specific, because it would need to be more
But
specific.
will we have that number by the town meeting is what I'm hearing. We're not going to have that number.
We're not sure.
I would
It's-
think if we didn't have that number, then it would have to be withdrawn.
We cannot take action on it. The DOR,
Right.
you would have to go to the stabilization fund if you want to go that route, because that is a fixed number in a separate fund that's always there. So, but yeah, if you don't have free cash certified by the DOR, they will not allow you to make a free cash warrant article vote. Can't be done.
Right.
So it's going to
the
be up
warrant-
to us to try to crank through and get that thing done by mid-September.
Or move
Or move the
the
meeting.
town meeting.
Or move to town meeting. Now, the problem there is it has to be coordination with the assessors, because, you know, we want to do that within a certain amount of time so that we get that last quarter bill in, so,
And that's November 1st.
yeah, given a quarterly, yeah. So, you know, you could buy yourself a few weeks, but, you know.
Actually, we'd be buying you a few weeks.
You'd be buying me a few weeks.
If you want to get technical
Thank you
about
very
it.
much. So,
Would a few weeks get it done?
Once again, I don't think we know, because if we didn't get the cash
you
certified
know,
till January
I'm going to
last
say
year,
we're
then it's
going to
not
do
gonna-
it. You know, we're going to, my goal is, you know, the mid-September 15th. I just can't guarantee it, because
Yeah, once it gets into the DOR pipeline, you don't know how long it's going to take to get back.
What's the historical?
That's exactly.
Actually, DOR turns it around within a week.
they're pretty quick, but with this,
Really?
Yeah, they do.
it's,
And the sooner you get it in, the better chance you get of
It's-
getting it turned around.
who's on vacation at the DOR, who's available.
So generally speaking, within a week, DOR is turning over the certified numbers that we've given them.
Depending on where you are in the queue.
Generally.
Yeah. If you're in by October 1st, you have a pretty good chance of getting it
Yeah,
within
so
a week?
what basically we have to do is close the books, submit all of our financial statements to them, they audit it, they ask questions, we go back, provide, it's an audit, basically, another audit. So depending on how well we do and how quickly we turn around those documents and answer the questions, it's gonna help us,
So
so.
you're
In the
closing the
past-
books on, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, no.
Selectman.
You sure? Okay. In the past, how much back and forth has it been?
It's a solid week and a half's worth of work,
A solid week and a half back and forth with the DOR,
once I submit.
once you submit.
So you close the books on August 30th. You can submit them by September 30th?
Well, I'd be submitting them by the September 7th or 8th. And
Jeez,
then-
August 1st is a breeze,
I mean,
right?
I mean October 1st.
I meant October
Yeah.
1st.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna
it's-
say,
but
August,
it's-
I get
time.
another birthday?
So, I can tell you is we'll do our best at pushing that for September 15th and
Good.
keep you updated as to where we stand.
Okay, because obviously, in a perfect world, with the fact that there will be a tax increase, we'd want to try to mitigate it if we could.
Absolutely.
But this whole process is clear as mud to me, so it's like, I mean, I realize the mechanism of it, but it's just like, nothing seems to be sort of working in in our favor to get this done. But,
Can we ask for a report at our next board meeting, which is 2 weeks from now, and August?
Sure.
August
No,
30th.
September
30th will
3rd.
be gone, so you'll have begun the book closing process, and
Yeah.
you can let us know how that's going and where you think you stand?
Absolutely.
That would be great.
Yep, absolutely.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
a question for the board. There was discussion about the meeting and whether or not moving it would help at all. And so tonight, the question for the board is really, can you put this article on the warrant? Again, sort of being up against it a little bit with the publication and the needs to get
when do
things
you
to
have
the
to,
reminder.
when does that be published by?
Last week.
Well, it needs to be published, and this is going to sound like quite a bit of time, but it needs to be published by the, right now, in the Thursday, the 12th of September version. But I need to get them
We've got work
at least
to
a
do.
draft, because I'm anticipating there's going to be other articles that need to be worked on between myself and town council, maybe some other parties. The question I would have is if 2 more weeks, if any amount of time the board, is that something that you would consider? And really a question with council also to decide whether or not and how that would be done, first of all. I just didn't, the board discussed the option, and I didn't know if the board had really fully
Okay.
Well, I think
No.
we should,
decided.
if any way possible that we can negate that tax rate for our taxpayers, we should do it. Perhaps we can put a placeholder there, and then if it's just that one article that you're talking about on the warrant, from September 3rd until, that gives us, what, 8 days, 9 days? 9 days, because you said it has to be done by September 12th?
That's a publication
Yeah,
date.
he has lots of work to do
Well,
with
that-
it
but
prior
that's-
to that.
That's, he's going to give us an update on closing the books.
Mm-hmm.
If the books aren't closed then, for some reason, then the timeline extends, so. And I'm thinking now, even if, like Nick said, if we went 2 weeks farther with the town meeting, you're at October 21st, that sounds like that doesn't give you time before the November 1st bills go out, if something's voted on to reduce it. I mean, I may be wrong, I don't know what they need to adjust a potential tax rate increase,
It should really, it won't be that bad, but, every time we push it off, we put pressure on the assessors.
Right.
And Tom Florence's office, the collector.
Right.
So I would want to include them in the conversation on what they think about putting it off and what they think a time frame would be.
It goes back to the September 3rd meeting,
Yeah.
because they're not here.
I think that's when we'll know more.
Okay.
Is
Can I-
September
So we're back to
3rd
square one, go ahead, Russ.
So just as a citizen, kind of responding to Jim's comments, I would be almost irate to see an article on the warrant without a number
Dollar
attached
Without a
to
number
it.
attached to it.
You asked me to come to town meeting
Right.
to vote on something, there's no number there.
Mhm.
Even when
I
it's a reduction?
understand, yeah. I'd like to know how much it is. I'd like to know what the impact
No
on
more
free
than-
cash is going, on the town's reserves are gonna be.
Right.
And so, how do I know that if there's not
You
a
don't know
number
what the,
there?
yeah.
But,
Just,
Okay.
just
No, I
trying
mean,
to think,
yeah.
But
like,
then, but then you have no option of having a reduction at all.
if you wait another 3 or 4 weeks to have the town meeting, you
Oh,
have a much better option.
Okay, yeah, okay, sorry,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Then the question is still, what is our free cash position, which we don't know.
We
don't
So
wanna
to
know
put
it,
a
yeah.
number out there.
And that gives a few
It's-
more, if we did postpone it a couple weeks, that gives a few more weeks to hopefully get that free cash.
So you're gonna ask
Certified,
the
so-
appropriations committee for a recommendation, and we're gonna say, yes, we recommend this number, and based upon this, our free cash position is going to be X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
it's
we
well
can
within the
make-
guidelines established by the DOR, and,
Mhm.
I mean, we can make a valid recommendation based upon the certification.
So you're
Makes sense.
supporting moving the town meeting? Just-
I'm
asking
supporting,
you.
I'm supporting having a warrant article with a
And
number.
With a number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever has to
So-
happen to
That
get that
being
number in
said,
there.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, no, Nick,
Chairman.
if we, can we obviously postpone the decision to move the town meeting to our September 3rd meeting? So we can get somebody from the assessor's office and Tom Florence in to get a pro or con. I realize that's gonna be, you know, I mean, we could make
The
the.
impact of the decision.
Yeah,
Well, practically speaking, if the board will be able to make decisions on the other warrant articles as to what it wants to put on there whenever the town meeting would be held, that will at least give me what I need to work on so that I can prep that. On September 3rd, if there's a decision to, yeah, I think it could work. That's the short answer. I think it could work. But I would need to know what warrant articles, other than this, that the
Yeah.
board wants worked on. And
that's further in our agenda.
yeah.
and then also, really just taking a look here, if, for example, if the meeting were to be pushed to the 21st, still, we need to know that number. I'm thinking no later than probably October 3rd.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that still falls within the time frame. And I know that's...
No, I think that, if I'm being too aggressive, just let me know, but I think that tomorrow, Nick, you and I and Tom Florence and Board of Assessors will probably have a meeting and determine what a deadline date would be that's comfortable for them. I think
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to supporting the postponement of town meeting if we can feel comfortable that we could put this properly to rest and have a proper warrant article.
Right, and also give the assessors and everyone time to, if there is a change in the tax rate, to get that into the bills, so.
I'm just, Mr. Chairman, then the other practical matter is whether or not the moderator would be available for that evening, if he knows.
I believe I will be. I'll verify that.
What
right
would
now,
that
but-
date be again?
Well, right
21st.
now, you were talking about the 21st of October. And then just to also pose the
Excuse
question
me.
to council to confirm that the board has that authority to postpone that date, postpone the meeting date without having to convene, or if the board would have to convene, seeing that there is one petitioned article on the warrant.
But the warrant date hasn't been set yet. They haven't signed the warrant, they haven't called the town meeting.
The board has not closed the warrant, the board has called the town meeting, and the warrant article deadline was set as last Friday.
That's fine. I think the issue is the board has taken a vote to set a date, but they haven't issued the warrant. So until the warrant is signed by the board establishing that the town meeting is going to take place, there is no real date set yet for the town meeting. The board can establish another date and keep the warrant closed and just work with the articles they have, or open the warrant for additional articles depending on
Yes.
how they feel.
Actually, I like that idea.
Yeah, because another item I was
There's
thinking
a
of,
couple of others.
well, I was thinking of the pool, if you want, if the, you know, your board wants more information, then that's another figure that, we have a dollar figure, but it's not gonna, you know, the
Worst thing
people
that
are
could
happy.
happen is if he comes back again and says he needs more money.
Right.
And I know our animal control
Control Officer has some issues that he's been dying to put before us, and perhaps this extension would give us the opportunity to act on those.
If we extend the time
Yes.
to present warrant items.
Right.
Nope, I have actually two more things.
Tax classification.
So another issue regarding reduction of the tax rate that we talked about last night in Appropriations Committee is snow and ice deficit. Every year, we usually have a snow and ice deficit. In fiscal year 13 is $212,000. The DOR by law allows us to raise that next year on the tax recap. So what that means is basically, we have planned on doing that, and that is set in the projection of the tax rate that we've come up with. However, we do have projected surplus funds in the fiscal year 13 budget that would allow us to eliminate that snow and ice deficit, so the funds would not have to be raised in this tax recap. Every 100,000 is 5.5 cents, so if we do about 200,000, it's about 11 cents. So we are also considering that in Appropriations Committee. There's pluses and minuses of doing it. We just want to let you know that that may be coming up for discussion.
But it's
That
initiated
comes
by
from
your
where?
board.
Where does that
That would
money
be a
come?
general fund reserve transfer approved by the Appropriations Committee.
Unused funds from fiscal year 13 left over.
Thank you.
And one other thing I'm going to ask for in a vote, and that is, the last thing is that last night the Appropriations Committee approved a $10,000 reserve fund transfer for fiscal year 13 from the general fund reserve to offset the $10,000 maximum legal budget deficit. So they did that, so I'm asking the board to consider that for tonight and maybe vote on it next meeting, and I will have the documentation for you to
Okay.
sign off on it. And that's it.
Sounds good.
We got tax classification. Is that on here?
Tax
Hearing?
classification hearing is set for,
Tentatively set for October 1st, I believe was,
so,
yeah, it would be at the board meeting, October 1st, I believe it, we were talking about that one.
so the assessors will come to you with their request to keep the tax rate flat throughout all classifications, or make an adjustment to do it, change it for industrial, change it for commercial, and change it for personal. And that just has to happen prior to approval of the tax rate by the DOR.
So the selectman is going to support keeping it as it is, just for the record.
And that's it.
All right, great.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. My brain hurts.
Yeah, I know. You're doing good,
My
though.
brain hurts. Thank you, Russ.
Nice jacket.
Beg your pardon. Okay. Next item is, you have the approval, is there a motion to approve the open session minutes of July 23rd, 2013?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion to approve the executive session minutes of July 23rd, 2013?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, under old business, well, what a surprise, we're at the special town meeting warrant. So, let's see, we get some items here, our warrant items, and obviously, I may talk to the counselor, we're not gonna close the warrant tonight because we're still up in the air as to when the meeting's gonna be, right?
Right.
Okay.
And regarding Pine Knoll, I guess that first and foremost needs to be discussed by community preservation, because if they don't approve it, it doesn't go anywhere.
Right, right. So there have to be some, some people satisfied as to that, before it goes forward. And I can say, municipal space study, timing is everything. I won't name the building, but we looked at, there's a building for sale in town at a very reasonable price with the potential for 9,600 square feet. That would be, in the opinion of a bunch of people, perfect. It looks like the cost of the building plus retrofitting it for the town and a few other items would cost about as much, if not maybe a tiny bit more, than the 2,000 square foot rehabilitation of this office and moving the IT department down to Shaker Road. So this, if this had come up 4 months ago, it would have been wonderful, because we wouldn't have spent the money on a space study, but this has come up, and I did go through it this morning, and we'll get more details. I have to talk to town council about a few items, but, and I don't want to put the proverbial cart before the horse, but this would fit our town needs perfectly, and it would be a wonderful solution to the problems. And as someone said at the municipal space study meeting, there was a, in the space study of like the year 2000, they said we'd ultimately need 7,000 square feet to move forward, and this ultimately, although it has tenants now, and they would be in theory phasing out over time, it has the potential for 9,600 square feet, and we'd be set for for my grandchildren's generation. So it's something we're looking into, just to let you know. So that, again, as far as the warrant item, that may change. So once again, we're 2 for 2 with things being in flux. So nuisance properties and upkeep, I believe Selectman Thorpe has been dealing with.
Yeah.
I don't mean to laugh, but I drive by one of them every day, and it's not funny.
It's not funny.
And
Unfortunately, we've had several problems with overgrown grass due to foreclosures. And so what I'm looking to do is have a warrant article that would allow us to have a service of some sort that would mow the grass and then put a municipal lane on the property, and that way it wouldn't be an eyesore to our town. And that's what that's essentially about.
I think it's a great idea, because, like I said, there's one on Chestnut Street that's,
Yeah.
I'd be embarrassed to live next to it, and it's just, and like you said, it's foreclosed on, so therefore,
And it seems like
it's like, who do you talk to?
trying to
Because
get
you
to
tried
the
talking to,
banks.
like, not to besmirch any banks,
Yeah.
but you tried talking to Bank of America, I might as well talk to that chair. So
Right.
if we can get something in there, I think that's a great idea, and then when the house does sell, we
would
get
we
paid
would
for
be
doing it, so,
reimbursed.
yep. Okay.
And, we might even be able to, there's some ideas that I have. We might be able to have some of our seniors who are looking for community service to go in there and get some things done. I don't know
Yeah.
how we're going to do it, but it just needs to be
Yeah,
done,
yeah,
because when you
definitely.
have that sort of issue, it's not just an eyesore, there are health issues
Oh, definitely.
that arise
Definitely.
also from little
Critters.
yeah, critters, let's say that.
Don't use
yeah.
technical terms.
So I
So,
just want to,
okay.
take care of that.
No, that's-
Unfortunately,
that
it's a
is-
sign of the times.
That's one you can definitely work on, Nick.
Did we skip one?
So does that
That's
have
not-
to
that's
go
an
up for a
old- that's an
vote?
old-
Or no?
Sorry.
Does that have to go for a vote first, Nick? Or
I think,
Do-
yeah, before council and I would work on it, we want to know that the board was in favor of it being on the warrant for
Okay.
whenever the meeting is.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the nuisance properties / upkeep warrant item for the special town meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
second?
I know you'd second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, very good.
Other-
You're on a roll here. Seasonal
Well, it's
licenses?
been one of those, again, you guys give me stuff.
The joys of the Board of Health.
Yeah, joys of Board of Health. What has come up is that we have the farmer's market. Right now, we have 2 types of licenses that we issue. One's a temporary license, which is less than 14 sequential days. And then we have a regular food service permit, which is, 24/7 sort of thing. We now have the farmer's market. They don't really fit in there because they're more than 14 days, but they're not sequential. So if we were to create a seasonal permit, that way we would be able to, so that they wouldn't have to keep coming back to us over and over again. This way they would have a seasonal permit, and we would be able to license them that way.
Okay. That sounds good. Any questions?
How often do they have to come back to us?
Well, if we give them a temporary license,
After 14 days, they have to come back?
Exactly.
Got it. That makes sense, doesn't it? Thank you.
and it goes to the
Just took me
summer.
a
No,
minute.
no, it's okay, it's a valid question.
Okay.
There's no
Okay.
such thing because it took me a minute to
Yeah, no, that makes
understand,
sense.
because I said the same thing to Amy. I was like,
What's the big deal?
what's the big deal?
Okay.
But I guess that would solve that issue.
All righty. Is there a motion to approve the warrant item for seasonal license.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And residential kitchens.
Now, this one needs to, what has happened is our former inspector has said that there is not to be any residential kitchens. However, there's a question about, with regards to whether or not we have a bylaw with regards to that. I couldn't find it. So the question is to council, do we need to create a bylaw that states that, and are we allowed to?
I have no idea what
Okay.
the issues are. I need a more specific.
Is it for a commercial resident, like a
For
residential
a
kitchen?
residential kitchen, a commercial kitchen and a resident.
So in other words,
Kitchen in a residence?
well,
Mhm.
suppose you just, I'm thinking of an example, it might be right or wrong, but I start a catering service out of my house.
Yeah.
I've got a business running out of my house. I'm using my kitchen to
Got
cook.
to get the zoning first before you
Yeah.
even get to the issue of licensing.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
Well, that was one of the things that the health agent had brought to us and said we need to address that, because there are a couple of issues with that it hasn't been addressed, and I didn't have an answer for. I looked in the bylaws that I had,
Interesting.
my copy of bylaws, and I didn't see anything.
If I want to buy a commercial grade stove and put it in my kitchen,
Well, I don't know if that, I think it's more for commercial use. I don't think
okay,
it's the
If
stove
it's for
itself.
personal use, that's not
Yeah.
an issue. But if you're going to,
in your residence.
I'm sorry.
You're getting to a slippery slope here because you get people who bake or cook for church events or other charitable nonprofit entities that they just deliver the food. It's being sold. So now, and right now, I don't believe that there's any inspection of those facilities where these people are voluntarily providing these foods. But if you're going to be issuing a license that's going to deal with residential facilities where food is being prepared for consumption other than as part of the living in the residence, then this other aspect that's been going on for centuries of people preparing food and bringing it to the church or to, to the senior center or whatever, is an issue that's going to have to be looked at too. Is that how are you going to police, for lack of a better term, those activities?
I would assume that those people aren't coming to us and applying for a permit.
It's a nice assumption,
Mm,
but I don't think it happens.
okay.
And someone says, this food wasn't prepared with the permit, and now you've got an issue of whether they violated the license and liability issues for them potentially. Not that it can't be done,
Yeah.
but you really need to
Well,
tell
the
me
question-
what it is that you're looking to accomplish and what you want to do with those other tangential issues, such as
Can we find out?
food being prepared for non-consumption by the people living in the residence.
All right, so we may want to hold off on that until
Yeah.
okay. Get further.
It's just something that we do need to address somewhere along the line,
Okay,
whether it's with a bylaw or
Okay.
whatever.
sounds good. Other warrant items. Is the other warrant item the tennis court?
Right, it was notification.
And I assume that they have their other 90 signatures somewhere else?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
just- I
because
didn't
I
give
only
you
saw
the-
10, and
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
right.
wait a minute.
I only
Yeah.
gave you the petition.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
We
good.
don't, you think we like looking at signatures for this? And is, obviously, is there a, since this is petitioned by a taxpayer, obviously, is there a motion to approve the warrant article for the improvements to the tennis courts?
Well, do we have to? I mean,
No.
Do we have to or don't
Because
have
that's
to?
gonna come from CPC
Okay.
also?
I know, well, yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, then to the board, a petitioned article, once it's certified, is automatically inserted on the warrant.
Okay. No, I saw it on here, so I didn't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Pine Knoll Pool article is potentially a different situation.
that's
where
ours, yeah.
the CPC,
Okay.
the meeting has gone differently this evening, but so you're going to consider at the next meeting, and assuming that the CPC has an opportunity to meet between now and then and make that decision,
Yeah.
that would be the more regular course of the action. So you would expect to know that at that next meeting. So if there is no recommendation, then it wouldn't come forth, is my understanding.
Okay.
Okay, all righty. And then obviously we'll table item C, which is closing the warrant.
Correct.
So, all right.
Yes,
sir.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just close
Come
out.
on.
Yeah, come on up here. You've been sitting in the background far too long tonight.
These
You
seats
need
are
to
a
get on
little
camera.
softer.
We've heard from
You
you.
wore a
but
tie.
let's
We
see
gotta
you
we gotta
too.
have you up here.
Hi. Good to see you.
How are you, sir?
Hello, Deb.
Are you all healed?
I am well healed, yes,
you.
thank you. I was riding my bike and doing all sorts of things with my new hip.
And serving food at the
Good for you.
Pan Mass Challenge,
It's-
right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
serve food at the Pan Mass Challenge, and I'm not aware of any consequences. My wife worked in the medical tent, and none of my customers wound up there, so.
This isn't Seinfeld
That's
with
right,
the...
That's right. And with Mr. Drury saying he had just gotten married, I can say that yesterday was my 40th anniversary.
Good for you.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, thank
Happy
you.
anniversary.
Thank you.
You got me beat by 9 years.
You're a
Last week was
dinosaur.
was my
Thank
31st.
you.
I mean, in a good way.
Yes,
That
thank
that didn't come out right, but,
A couple of things. First, I am available on the 21st, so that if the board
Okay.
chooses
Okay.
to set that date. Second, I did want to talk about the issue that has already been discussed now on my concern about the absence of certification of the free cash. Historically, I don't think we've ever had it done quite that early. I know Tom works very hard to do it, but it's not entirely within
Right.
his control, so, but that issue has now been discussed. Thirdly, I wanted to indicate the resignation, or actually the expiration of the term of Frank Iovini from the Appropriations Committee. He has opted not to be reappointed because of other issues, other time constraints, so I am sorry to see him leave. He's been a great
Yes,
member,
definitely.
asset of the committee. I will be looking for, I will need to appoint someone, so I'm advising the viewers on LCAT and the board of, I will be entertaining any applications. I'll put something on the town's website as well.
Okay.
It is a committee that works very hard, and there is a significant time component, but the committee it's comprised of terrific individuals
Yes,
and performs a very, very vital function for the town.
Is there a specific skill set that you seek?
Not necessarily. I mean, somebody that is familiar with financial statements and numbers generally, but there's no specific, we have a variety of skill sets and professions on the committees. I'm not looking to fill a particular slot. And then just finally, I wanted to, as was alluded to when Russ was here earlier, the committee met last night and re-elected him as chair and re-elected Eric Madison as chair of capital planning. And they both have done a terrific job,
Yes.
and I'm very happy for them. And again, the town is well served by them.
We're
So,
very lucky.
yeah, the committee is just, it works very hard, and each year they're getting better in terms of the budgeting process and tightening things up. It's challenging times, and they're well up to the task, so.
And in learning from my esteemed colleague here, and learning my manners, I think we should send a letter to Frank thanking him for his service, because I know that's a daunting job being on the appropriations, and it seems like during the budget process, they meet every 20 minutes. I know I'm exaggerating, but the poor people meet all the time during that process,
do.
so
They really do.
it's a tireless, thankless job, so.
we want to say thank you.
Yes.
Just for the listening audience, if they wanted to, how would they get their information to you, and what that process would be? Do you want to give an email?
Sure,
A
I can
phone
do,
number?
I
or-
can do both.
Okay.
Anybody that's interested can either mail me, my
Okay.
snail mail,
Snail mail?
and my address is 170 Tanglewood Drive.
Okay.
I can be emailed at, I believe there's a moderator's address. It's, I think, moderator@eastlongmeadowma.gov.
Okay.
Or I can be called on the phone, and my phone number is 525-1249.
Okay.
And my office number is 737-1131.
There you
Blood
go.
My blood type is O.
Positive?
Universal donor.
I am the universal donor.
Ah,
Very nice.
Very nice.
Anything
Something
else?
to call out. We already know
I think
about your
this is the first in
firstborn.
like 4+ years that someone's given their blood types. All right.
Okay?
Thank you
That's
so
it.
much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Sorry.
I know.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, now we go on to, we have some I'm
Excuse me,
sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't have it in my notes here, but the warrant article for the union contracts,
Yes.
well, a proposal that was spoken about, would that be one?
And I think we have 67% of them are finished, and we know what the percentages would be, so I'm sure Tom Caliento could get you figure. And for those, there's one that's still hanging out there, so if you want, you can do them separately, I assume.
I don't know the answer to that.
I have a feeling, I think Russ said that we were doing them separately, or that he requested that.
Okay.
That be the process, and I think in this case we may have to, because like I said, we have two that are settled and one that's still a hanging fire, so to speak, so,
Okay. All right, so I present to the board a draft of three separate and
yes.
go with that for now.
And like I said, we know the dollar amounts for or we know the percentages for two of them, so that we should be able to attach a figure to that too, when, for that warrant item. A dollar figure, I would think. All right.
Okay.
Now we move on. We have vacancies in various councils and commissions. The first one is in the Cultural Council, and I believe Christine Williams expressed her interest to join the Cultural Committee, and she's lived here for 20 years, and she's a member of the Green Committee, and she has other positive attributes which will help on the council. So I'd like to make a motion to approve Christine Williams as the newest member of the Cultural Council.
So moved. Oh.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion?
Mm-mm.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Next item is, there are three members of the Rec Commission that, as Chris put it in his email, Colin put it in his email, they've expressed their excitement for a new 2-year term, so we don't get that often. So I would like to make a motion to reappoint Nancy Roberts, Carol Ann Elmendorf, and John O'Hare to the Recreation Committee.
So moved.
Commission?
Commission, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Now, we have, let's see,
I don't think,
are we,
we're not doing anything
we're not
with
doing
that one.
LCAT, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh, for the committee?
Yeah,
I don't know, that's Nick.
yeah, because I don't have any,
I thought we weren't doing that.
because I don't have any,
That's a carryover item because we're still reappointments, and I didn't know if...
Oh, I didn't know what that was.
There's no reappointments. It's just a question of whether or not the board wants to consider reappointments or to go out and look for new individuals.
Right. Can we do that on September 3rd?
yeah, why don't we table it?
Yeah.
Carry that one over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
And then the next item is Emergency Management Director.
Wait,
Sorry, go ahead. No.
I just, what?
Nothing.
did you,
I have that phone, so I couldn't really hear.
Oh, you can hear me? Hi, how you doing? Okay,
Okay, so we're going to table that. So then, next is Emergency Management Director?
but definitely do it on the 3rd, though.
Third, yes.
It should go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a verbal?
so regarding the emergency management director, we had appointed someone temporarily,
Mhm.
our IT director, that was done by a previous board.
Mhm.
Felt it was an opportunity for us to let the public know that we have that position available, and we would like to make an official appointment, and so want to open it up to folks to know that the responsibilities of our emergency management director are to work with police, fire, and public health officials, along with other department heads, to be a cohesive team, to help us prepare in case of emergencies. That director also oversees the MRC, which is the Medical Reserve Corps, which is a group of folks who deal with health and safety for our community, and the CERT, Community Emergency Response Teams. So I think we can get, this information is up on our website, but we will, I would like to seek interested parties who would like to be our emergency management director,
Mhm.
so that we can officially appoint a director at this point. I think that Our IT director has done a great job.
Oh, yeah.
He's a very
Mhm.
busy guy, though, and I
Mhm.
think we should make a decision to have a permanent emergency management director in place. So want to make that official announcement, and
Exactly.
hopefully interested parties will contact us.
Okay, great.
Have you spoken to our fire chief?
Yes,
at all?
I have.
Okay, great.
Okay, next item is casino impact.
Well, as you know, we met with MGM,
Mhm.
and some of the things that came out from the MGM meeting were the types of impacts that that a casino would have on our town of East Long Meadow. We also agreed that Nick, I am going to need your help so much on this one. The type of impacts that are here are, we talked about the impacts that could possibly be on our schools because of people moving back in. People moving in from the area. We also talked about the impacts on planning and zoning. We also talked about lodging. If we don't have a bylaw that keeps people from opening lodging houses, which are occupied by 4 or more unrelated people. So there was some talk about possibly having some bylaws that would address that issue. The schools, quite naturally, if people are moving in, they may have children, and therefore that would impact our schools. Traffic impact was also discussed. All of these things need to be done by our impacts that we're reporting to the casinos if we're to be reimbursed by them. The deadline to be identified as an impact community is December 31st. So I am asking, I'm going to turn it over to you, Nick, because I'm sure there's something I left out, but I am asking for information from our community because you know things, and there's value in what you have to say. So the MGM will be coming back to me in possibly 2 to 3 weeks, and I would love to hear from the public to find out what you think some of the impacts would be. My email address is a.thorpe@eastlongmeadow.ma.gov, I believe it is, here.
See if it's been.
My easiest one is thorpe6a@AOL. That'll get to me. So, Nick, what did I leave out?
A discussion of whether or not and when the town would expect to meet with the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission.
Oh, yeah, there was a question of whether or not we would have the Pioneer Valley Planning Commissioner to act as a liaison for us and other towns. That way, if there were any studies that needed to be done, they would be taken care of, and we wouldn't have to pay for those. So we are in talks with them now to see if they are going to accept that. There's a lot of work going on. We definitely need to hear from everyone. All of our department heads are working hard on getting information to us, and so we'll forward that to the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. Hopefully, they'll be our liaison, and that way we won't incur any cost, and hopefully we're named as one of the impacts, because whether or not it's the one in Springfield, or if it's the one that's approved in Palmer, I believe that we in East Long Meadow will experience some sort of inconvenience, whether it's cut-through traffic to Springfield or to Palmer or West Springfield. And we just need to, and right now, if you look at some of the communities, I believe they were saying we're more likely for people to come and try to build here in East Long Meadow because we have some open spaces. So we just need to protect ourselves and make sure that we look out for East Long Meadow and make sure that if there is an inconvenience, that we are compensated for it, and that if it happens while we're at the table, and making sure it happens the way we want it to happen, and our town stays the way we want it to be.
Okay, great.
Is that it?
I think so.
Okay.
Very good. That was very comprehensive, so.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
I-
good.
you know,
That's
we
a good
just-
thing.
We just
Instead of
really need to be
yeah.
aware.
Yeah, it's, we're in the infancy of this, so it's important to get on the theoretical bus with this. So, that's the second time I mentioned bus this time. Next item is Cable Access Committee.
The
A proposed meeting date.
Mr. Chairman, I just report that this was originally on as a part of an appointment with the
Okay.
LCAT director, but just moved down to a topic and really a question to see about getting a meeting together, what dates might be feasible. With the ascertainment process, there will also need to be public forums, probably later this fall and so forth. So just really a reminder to the board that we are in that process now, that
Okay.
time frame for the franchise renewal. And to alert the public that the committee will be seeking that input about the process, about the cable franchise renewal.
Okay.
And
Alrighty. So there's nothing we have to do tonight. Alrighty. Under new business, we have for approval, the retiree request for healthcare reinstatement. Now, this is for approval of this format?
Mr. Chairman, no, this is for an approval that I would state at the beginning. I would ask if the board makes that motion to accept that it would do so pending the receipt by the Benefits Administration Manager of all necessary paperwork. There's one outstanding piece of paperwork, so we want to make sure. The board had adopted back in 2011, I believe it was, and it's on the document, but I don't have access to the document at the moment. I'm having an issue. But that what the board had approved that retirees could have a one-time opportunity to request reinstatement onto the town's health care. But they would need written permission of the board. So that's why it comes before the board. And that's the application document, November of 2011.
Yep.
And then I believe in the next is the policy that references the permission of the board. So typically what the board has done is taken a vote, and then a letter would be signed afterward by the chairman if so approved. They're really, it was just a policy for the board to at least be aware of these, and if there's other specifics that the individual members need, I would encourage them to speak with the benefits manager.
Okay.
Very good.
So in other words, we're looking for approval of a request for a healthcare reinstatement with the stipulation that all paperwork be provided to the employee benefits coordinator, or?
Correct, and I'd be more specific on the document, I just don't recall which document that was.
Okay.
May I?
Yes.
But I guess my concern is that we've been waiting for some time for that one document to come through, and it should have been here by now, and I guess that's why I'm concerned about taking a vote up now. Would there be a hardship if we were to take the vote up on September 3rd?
I don't know the answer to that.
You don't know the
I don't know
answer
the
to
answer
that.
to that.
Because obviously, any vote we're taking tonight is dependent on that information getting in.
Right.
It's getting in, so it doesn't, nothing applies until all the paperwork is gotten in, just, not that, just for the sake of discussion.
Like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of reluctant to. It just seems like a pattern of voting for stuff that's not complete.
Well, that's why we put the stipulation in there.
Stipulation,
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
and I'm not real comfortable with that, but you do what we have to do. I mean, it is what it is.
Okay. Well, then, I guess I'll make the motion through the, to request for the retiree healthcare reinstatement with the stipulation that all paperwork is received by the employee benefits coordinator.
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second out of necessity. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against?
Yeah.
Okay. Next,
2 to 1
Yes.
against is the vote.
next item is a proclamation request from Brian Falk regarding National Preparedness Month, which is September, and I guess this was started in post 9/11 times by FEMA to make communities, make the communities make themselves aware of emergency preparedness in the case of disasters, either natural or otherwise, or emergencies. So, I guess this year's theme is "You Can Be the Hero," and it's just a way to get people more in tune to the fact that there should be preparedness for emergencies. And I would, in that note, I don't know if my board has read the rest of that. I don't want to read the whole thing, but I'd like to make a motion to approve the request for the proclamation regarding National Preparedness Month.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item is a request from the Masonic Temple for we'll start out with a one-day liquor license, beer and wine, for Saturday, August 31st, 2013, from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. In conjunction with a birthday party, insurance on file. Is there a motion to approve the one-day liquor license?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. And also, is there a motion to approve the entertainment license?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our next item is a request from the Masonic Temple for one-day liquor license, beer and wine, Saturday, September 7th, 2013, from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. in conjunction with a birthday party. Insurance is on file. Is there an approval of the one-day liquor is there a motion to approve the one-day liquor license?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And is there a motion to approve the entertainment license?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, our next item is a block party request from Linda Cody, Saturday, September 7th, 2013, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., Elm Street to Rankin Avenue, and the rain date being Sunday, September 8th. The recommendations have been received from Police, Fire, and DPW. Is there a motion to approve the block party request?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
With the recommendations of the police department.
Yep. Yeah, I think we already received them, so, thankfully. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And next item is Saturday, September 7th is going to be a busy day
I
because
was just looking.
there's a block.
Everything is happening on the 7th.
I know, there's a block party request from Aaron Smith, Saturday, September 7th, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., from 3 to 9 Redden Drive and along Redden Lane, the rain date being September 8th, from noon to 6 p.m. The recommendations have been received from Police, Fire, and DPW. Is there a motion to approve this block party?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is Hasbro Employee Appreciation Family Fun Day, Saturday, September 7th, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Labor Day weekend?
I think it is, yes.
Weekend after.
No.
Is there approval of the event?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there the approval of a temporary food service permit?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Do I see that here?
I believe it is. Let's see.
They have their own kitchen.
There's a liability insurance. I don't actually see the, well, they wouldn't see the permit because we haven't approved it yet, so.
Right.
What? Temporary food service, yeah.
Right, but they wouldn't get the permit until they may have applied for it. I don't know if Nick's got it in there.
Right here. Hold on. I'm almost there.
Go ahead and do your provisionary thing.
Yeah. Is there a motion to approve the temporary food service permit?
With the application once we have.
Well, have they applied for it, Nick?
They have, but again, I don't have that file.
Okay.
Okay, so
all right.
we'll get a copy of it.
Yeah. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Next is a tent permit. A motion to approve a tent permit.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item is the Hazard Mitigation Plan Grant. Police, Fire, DPW, LEPC, and PVCP Commissioners' recommendations to participate all on file. This is, if you want to go ahead, Nick.
I just, the note on the all on file, there were just several emails that I have just for the file, and it was basically, yes, we support it. And there were some other comments, but it's a grant that Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, again, is taking the lead on for several communities, and the result of it will be to come up with a plan that would eventually be FEMA approved for hazard mitigations within the town relating to different disasters or so
Or
forth.
disasters.
So, the town's obligation would be to pay $2,000 in funds or in kind. Probably most communities are paying in kind, meaning there will be an obligation for the town to participate in upwards of 5 meetings over the course of a year. I believe at least one of them would be a public meeting prior to submittal to FEMA, I think, of the draft plan. So it would be within whatever department heads or whichever representatives that would be going to these meetings, and apparently there would be a kickoff meeting with all the communities and then work from there probably on an individual basis. So if the board is amenable, you have recommendations from various departments, and the request here would be to vote to approve it or not approve it. And with that being done, if it were to be approved, we'd send a letter signed by the chairman to notify the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission that the town is interested in participating.
Okay.
And one other thing, the time frame is such that I believe FEMA would, the application would go in, and we probably wouldn't hear anything until sometime in the spring or later, and the work to be done during the fall or later of 14 into 15, and I think the draft plan would be sometime in 15, to give you an idea.
Okay. But we have to sign, if we're going to participate, we have to sign a letter by 23rd of
We have
August,
to
I believe.
submit that letter.
Submit the
Yeah.
letter by August
Yeah.
23rd, okay.
Okay, is there a timeline for when we have to submit the money, or whatever our plan is to do the $2,000 or a combo, whatever?
I would
Within a
suggest that
year.
the board just stipulate that it be in-kind contribution of time for staff.
Okay.
Because there's no funding source anyway.
Okay,
Okay.
great, okay. I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw that little number.
I'd like to make a motion to approve participation in the Hazard Mitigation Plan Grant with a stipulation that our participation in it involves in-kind time donation.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item, website access.
I guess that's me, Nick? Okay. From time to time, we have the opportunity, I know with the health, being Chair Board of Health, we get information from different sources that I'd like to place on the website. I spoke with our IT person, and I understand exactly what he's, because of what we've gone through, he would like the permission of the board before access was granted.
Okay, so obviously you're interested in putting on items that may be of interest to the townspeople
Exactly.
for their benefits, yeah. Is there a motion to allow, how am I gonna word this? Is there a motion to allow items to be added to be put on the website for the benefit of the townspeople of East Long Meadow?
By Angela.
By Selectman Thorpe?
Selectman Thorpe.
Actually.
Mr. Chairman, if I
It should
could, I
go
guess
through
that
someone.
would be the question is, will this be specific by individual?
It should be anyone.
Or it should be all of us, actually,
Yeah.
if you choose to take advantage of it.
Okay, and how about let's see, I don't think this would ever happen. Why don't we word it this way? Is there a motion to allow any board members to post items to the town website for the benefit of the town, with the exception that if there's any question about the information by the IT department, that it comes to the whole board before it's presented, just in the off chance that there's something funky that one of us wants to put on. Is that a good word?
Through the chairman, what if I want to put something up, that I just bring it to the board and say, I want to put this up on the board, and you all say, yeah, great idea, or you have an opportunity to say, you know what, Deb, that could be an issue because, where I don't have a lot of experience, where I think I might want to put something up there, I might not know something important, so
Sure.
I think it's a great idea that we have that option, but if I were
That's
to
true,
come here
to
and
present
say,
it, yeah, I don't know how often
you know,
you're thinking of doing that.
Selectmen,
Well, sometimes it comes through the State Board of Health.
Okay.
And there's just information there, and I've mentioned it a couple of times to have stuff added. It's just beneficial to the town. It's
Yeah.
not personal stuff. I'm not
No,
going
I
to
know that.
campaign on there
Yeah.
or anything
No,
of that nature.
but and from the marketing perspective, you know, a
Mhm.
website needs to be clean and concise, and so I think
Well,
that
perhaps he could create
the
a little section or
bulletin board,
something.
so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good idea. If there's something to present, why don't we could just
Bring it up
bring
as
it at
new
the meeting, and then
business.
we'll approve it, and it'll go on. And that'll be for anyone, because I don't think there'll be anything that'll be time sensitive, unless it's,
Sometimes.
yeah, okay.
Sometimes.
Okay, is there a motion to approve website access with the approval of the board members?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mm-mm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is the organizational chart. That's a verbal, Nick?
Yes.
Is that mine? Okay, I'm new to this, and, whenever I've done a budget in the past, I've always had an organizational chart, which means that I've had the names of the people that are in the department, along with their job descriptions, as well as the pay that's associated with it. I think these things are essential to building a budget responsibly, and before I go and ask each department head for these things, I just wanted to make sure that that would be beneficial information for all of us. I know for me, it would be. I just don't know in many places where you've built a budget without having an organizational chart. I think it would be beneficial for us as a town.
We have that available, Nick?
Well, I think it has to be developed, so that's why the request. I think there's little bits and pieces. Some people have it more than others, and I just think
The
it's.
whole conversation about a personnel,
Yeah.
human resource.
Well, yeah, but.
Oh, it's
yeah.
just, it goes along the same line,
Yep.
Selectman
No, that's-
Bronski. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm just trying to think of how we can do this being as least invasive to the department heads, you know, with their time constraints as they
Well,
can.
I just think it's a
Bless you.
simple
Bless you.
request. I mean, we're not asking them all at the same time.
Right.
I've gotten some already, to be candid and upfront. It hasn't seemed to cause a problem, but
Okay.
I just, and with what has come up a couple of weeks ago, I just thought that it would be above board
Mhm.
and being transparent to mention that's what it's for.
Okay. So do you want to take the lead on this?
I don't mind at all, no.
Okay. Then I'd like to make a motion to allow Selectman Bronski to pursue an organizational
That would be
chart.
Thorpe.
I'm sorry, Selectman Thorpe. I was thinking of the I was thinking of the personnel policy.
That's all right.
That's okay.
I almost gave you a job you don't want. Selectman Thorpe to pursue an organizational chart of our various departments that the board oversees.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Board of Health?
Board of Health, okay. Just what we have on here is the WMRA, which stands for the Waste Management Recycle of America. And it's, what they did is, because we've been recycling so well, they did issue us a check. The check is a little bit less than what it had been in the past, but it still was $16,171.31.
Great.
And that goes to our general fund, is that correct, Nick?
Yes.
Okay. So that's money that came back to the taxpayers for recycling. And perhaps, this is one of those things, perhaps this could be posted on our website so they could know how we did, month to month. So can we put that on there?
Sure.
I'll put that on there. Okay, excuse me for sniffing, I do apologize. The next thing that we have is the public health nurse grant. Part of the grant is that we have somebody represent us on the steering committee. We had talked about it before, and I would like to go to this meeting on the 29th. I have it blocked off, but we never took a formal vote on it. So that's what I'm asking at this time. It's going to take place on Thursday, the 29th at 2 p.m. And I have some questions for them because they're...
Where's it being held?
It's going to be held at the
PVPC.
Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. Where else?
Are you, so you're looking for a motion?
I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just thinking.
I'll entertain a motion.
Oh.
If you want to go to a meeting, you can go. It'd be my guess.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. That is passed.
Well, we
Okay.
have to vote. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, boy, it's been a long night. We're not even halfway through.
No, we're
Just to give you an update on that, we did go to Long Meadow. However, there has been a turnaround from our nurse from the grant who is saying, Angela, who's now offering her services, so we won't need Long Meadow. Also, it's not on here, but Long Meadow did have an increase, and when we extended originally, our original agreement, there was an increase, and it came to less than $15, I think it was, right, Nick?
Right.
And I just wanted to make sure, does that need to go for a vote for approval to get paid, or are we okay with that? Just to let them know. I just think it's just up or to just let you know that there was just a slight, and it was so, I think it was 67 or 71 cents an hour.
Yeah, and our
And it
thanks
was
to
based
Long
on
Meadow.
3 hours.
Yep.
Okay?
Great.
All right, I think that's, steering
That's it.
committee, we have that, we're all set.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Under correspondence, we have a letter from Stephen Haynes Jr. regarding farm animals in town. Now, how much, what do I have to note with that, Nick, that we just received the correspondence, or do I have to go through the letter itself, or?
That would be at the
Want me to read
discretion of
it?
the board.
I don't know, because it's basically, to summarize it, it's, his neighbor has farm animals, and I don't think he's overly happy about it, but as he states in his letter, it's allowed by,
Right, it is.
it is allowed by town ordinance, so I don't know if in order to get that change, that would take someone applying to the town for a change in, you're not just sitting there looking pretty, you can answer this for me.
Under the new zoning statute, the amendment, it used to be that you needed 5 acres of land in order to qualify to have, for an exemption from zoning to have farm animals. I haven't read the statute recently, but I believe that amount, the last reduction brought it down to, I think, 2.5 acres or 2 acres, so that if an entity has that amount of land, then they're permitted to have farm animals and also perform farming.
Okay.
Even though it might be otherwise permitted by the zoning bylaw.
Is there a number of animals that they can have? Is there a limit, or, no, they can have as many as they want?
It gets to the point where it results in some type of overburdening of the property,
Yeah.
where it's not managing the farm properly, you get into a Farm Bureau review of the situation, but there is no specific number. I would assume, however, that there probably is a number of animals that are allowed per acre or type of animal perhaps that would apply, but I can't tell you that at this point in time, and the complaint would be with the zoning enforcement officer who would be the building.
Okay, yeah, because what we can do is follow up with the building commissioner, because he would be able, or someone would be able to pull the records and see how many acres that this person has, because it's in the letter, so, okay. And then our other correspondence was there's 2 items from Chief Morissette, just notifying us that there's 8 call firefighters that are looking to become permanent firefighters, and he's going to move forward with the selection process, as he noted with a previous letter to us, for any potential firefighters. And also, he has received his new vehicle, so he has a request to designate Car 1, which is the Crown Victoria, as surplus, so it can be dealt with accordingly. Is there a motion to designate the Crown Victoria as the former chief's car, 2003 Crown Victoria, as surplus material?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
And that'll go to being auctioned off at the
Yes.
first auction? Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
I think the procedure is first that the town departments are notified of the surplus property, and if they have need or they
Oh,
have
okay.
the right to request it. And if there is none, then it would go either for trade or for auction.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Before we get to town council, let's just do the meetings, invitations, and reminders. We have the dedication of Stuart Memorial Field, a town hero, Saturday, August 24th, 2013, 11 a.m. in the upper baseball field at Heritage Park. Next Board of Selectmen's meeting is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2013, 6 p.m. in the Town Hall Hearing Room. The 12th Annual Candlelight Vigil for 9/11 is Wednesday, September 11th, 2013, beginning at 8 p.m. East Long Meadow Fire Department, 150 Summers Road. The Hampshire County Select Boards Association meeting is Thursday, September 12th, 5 p.m. at the Blue Bonnet Diner in Northampton. And the special town meeting, in theory, is being held Monday, October 7th, 2013, at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium, and a board meeting before the special town meeting at 6 p.m. in the front conference room, but that may be subject to change. We will see. Now, town council.
You're on.
How are you, sir? How you doing?
I'm good.
Sorry.
Good evening.
Okay, we have, I believe item 31 is executive.
31 would be executive and 33 would be
Yeah, okay.
executive.
All right, so the first item is the T-Mobile lease.
And we've finally been able to sort of come to a resolution of that. We have a authorization to allow them to upgrade their service. I've made a couple of changes to the form that they've submitted, but basically what we're being told is that the underground conduit that exists is Charter's conduit, and that Charter and T-Mobile have agreed that Charter would install this fiber optic line in their conduit connected to the T-Mobile conduit that they have, and run it to the monopole to provide service. So the issue that we had of whether we were giving a new easement or not is not, apparently from the information we've received, something that's involved in this situation. And so if the board was so disposed to authorize it to go forward, you could sign that form as amended.
Okay. Is there a motion to allow the T-Mobile contract to advance?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I sign this?
And Charter's already
Yes.
agreed, just added.
I'm informed by T-Mobile's representative that Charter hasn't agreed to actually do the work. They're going to do the installation under agreement with T-Mobile.
Oh, are they gonna charge us, the townspeople?
No charge to us.
Okay.
It's not our work at all.
And not our townspeople either?
No, no, it has
just
nothing to
making sure.
do with any cost to the town.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And the next item is a fire department organizational chart.
Very fortuitous that you received that.
Yeah, I had asked them for it.
Yeah, there you go.
So, that's the first one.
Okay. There you go. And that's just the notification that we got that, right?
Right.
Okay. And then, in the never-ending lease department, the Verizon lease?
I'm at a loss as to understand why it's back on your agenda. I believe that it had already been signed by the board. It may have been put on, tabled, I don't recall. I know that Verizon has signed it and sent it back to us. I don't know where we stand. So I'll defer it to the town
I just,
administrator.
really just to report to the board that it hadn't been sent out yet. If that has not yet been sent out, only because there were some forms that I had to have the clerk take a look at. So in case there was any discussion about, or a question from Verizon. It will be going out. I've looked at those forms, and they're all, seem to be in place, and so it should be going out soon, couple of days.
All right, thanks. And under new business?
New business, it's a notification of the suspension of the Pride package store license here. And received that from the ABCC, that there was an issue with the history of one of the owners of the LLC that holds the license. And along with that, the board has received a request to transfer the ownership interests or to alter the ownership interests of the LLC, and that application is partial. It's been filed, but there are a number of other documents that need to be filed in order to complete the process. I did speak with the Mr. Channing, who was instructed in the documents that he was going to be the contact person here. So I spoke with him. I've given Nick a list of the items that they need to get to us for you to be able to actually act on.
Okay.
On the license.
Great, thank you.
Before you move off of the agenda items, just like to point out, I think just for the record, that the discussion that you had with the moderator earlier, discussing the makeup of the Appropriations Committee and the Capital Planning Committee really wasn't covered under your agenda items. So my understanding is that you were taking that discussion from the moderator as part of the public forum section of the agenda, just taken out of order in the time frame, so that discussion
You're absolutely correct.
I thought so. And also, for part of the public forum, I'd like to just inform the board and Selectman Thorpe that I've had a discussion with the gentleman, Mr. Lane, who is operating as a transient vendor, not transient vendor, a hawker or peddler, and has some individuals working for him in the community. And as the board may know, that a hawker and peddler is a person who goes from door to door in a community attempting to sell goods or merchandise or items. And in order to do that in the community, they need two things. They need, one, a license from the state, and Mr. Lane has indicated that in my discussions with him that he's aware of that and he has that license. And secondly, that you need a license from the town clerk. And so I believe he was going to be contacting the town clerk if he was going to continue to try to operate in the community to obtain that license. At least that was I advised.
Okay.
But that was
May I make a question that? I looked in the bylaws, and it says that they're to come to our town clerk first, and then go get the final approval by the Director of Standards in Boston.
Yeah, that's what the bylaw says, but there is
Right.
actually a statute
There's a
that
statute,
covers the activity, and independent of our bylaw, there's a requirement that there be a state license for hawkers and peddlers before they go to the individual communities to obtain their permits.
Okay. I will say that in the discussion with the gentleman, may I give history through the chair?
Sure. There's a public forum issue, sure.
Okay. I'm just like most people in East Long Meadow, you notice things, and I happened to notice something in my neighborhood that just didn't look right. I witnessed some gentleman walking around with a spray bottle and kind of some rags just hanging out of their pocket, and I noticed that they were approaching people. The gentleman did end up, there seemed to be a supervisor that had dropped off a lot of these youngsters all over our town, and they were selling products. And so I did, voice a question as to did we have anything in the bylaws. I did go and look through the bylaws and found out that we did indeed have this. I did check with counsel, and then I, got the phone number and referred counsel to him. That's what started the conversation. But when I had the conversation with that gentleman, Attorney Donahue, that was not the way the conversation went. But I'm glad that he does have the paperwork. I would like to see it. I know that's what he's saying, but I would like to see it, and I just have my reservations. And I think at this point, just to make the public aware that they are out going door to door. The youth are harmless, however, we just want to make sure everything's on the up and up and by our bylaws.
Yeah, we have no reason to believe that this business is not not a
Nope.
legitimate business,
Not
but
saying
just
that
to
at
make
all.
aware that has been advised that in order to operate in the community, he needs
Okay.
to apply and obtain a license from the town clerk, provide those services, so hopefully they'll be aware.
And
And
that's a public record, so you can ask Tom to see if he's filed it.
I did speak with Tom prior to, I advised Tom that he would be coming his way. I don't know whether or not he did so today or not. I did make I did give advice to Mr. Lane that perhaps if he's going to be doing this in the summer, it would, so that there isn't any confusion with the public, that perhaps he come and present to us. Since he lives in Connecticut, he could come here, in June, if it's going to be happening for July and August. And that way, we could make sure that all the proper procedure is being followed.
Okay.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to move into executive session to discuss matters of collective bargaining and a personnel right of privacy, or to do so in open session would affect the town's negotiating strategy and also the person's right to privacy.
So moved.
To return to open session, only to adjourn. Thank you.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Selectman Thorpe.
Yes.
Selectman Bronski.
Yes.
Selectman Federici, yes. Nick, I'm getting pretty good. You don't have to write.